From St. Louis, KMOX-FM, Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. Hurricane Melissa slammed ashore in Santiago de Cuba overnight. Correspondent Vicki Barker has our top story from the foreign desk.
Cubans wading through floodwaters as Hurricane Melissa makes landfall as a Category 3 storm. A storm surge of up to 12 feet is forecast, and 20 inches of rain could fall in a matter of hours. In Jamaica, officials are counting Melissa's costs.
The entire Jamaica has felt the brunt of Melissa.
500,000 people without power in Jamaica. More than 700,000 evacuated in Cuba as one of the strongest Atlantic hurricanes on record continues its march through the Caribbean.
President Trump is backing Israel after overnight strikes in Gaza that hospital officials there say killed more than 80 people.
Nothing's going to jeopardize. You have to understand, Hamas is a very small part of peace in the Middle East. And they have to behave.
Israel has declared the ceasefire back on after it says Hamas fired on and killed an IDF soldier in southern Rafah. Hamas denies it and says it will delay the return of another hostage body. President Trump spoke from Seoul, where he announced a trade agreement with South Korea. It comes a day before he meets with China's leader. Reporter Alex Jensen is in Seoul.
President Trump's confident of a deal with China, making this summit with Xi Jinping a potentially vital turning point for key U.S. economic interests, from computer chips and aerospace to soybean farming. Failure to get this right sets up a trade war escalation with America's most potent adversary right now, although it's understood Trump's threat of additional 100% tariffs is off the table for now.
Back home, it's day 29 of the government shutdown. California is among more than half of U.S. states suing the Trump administration to try to stop SNAP benefits from running out this weekend. Governor Gavin Newsom finds it ironic.
The Senate's going to be having lunch today. Lunch to discuss cuts to food programs. Hope they enjoy their lunch.
Last night at Dodger Stadium.
Line drive left field, Miles Straw puts it away. And the Blue Jays have tied this series up.
The World Series even Steven at 2 games apiece after Toronto's 6-2 victory over L.A. on Fox. Jays pitcher Shane Bieber gets credit for outdueling Shohei Ohtani.
It was a big team win. I would have loved to have been able to get through a couple more innings just coming off of last night. Like, what a game that was. And at the same time, these guys picked me up in a huge way.
They'll all be back in L.A. tonight for Game 5 of the best of 7. Dow futures up 65. This is CBS News.
Brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Not only does Progressive let you bundle your insurance, they also give you round-the-clock protection. Quote today at Progressive.com.
It is 6:03, and right now in downtown St. Louis, we've got rain and 53 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. It could be a bad month for your local grocery store.
With the federal government shutdown still underway, Missouri's Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, benefits for November have been halted, and that could ripple through the food supply chain. Dan Schall, executive director of the Missouri Grocers Association, tells MissouriNet they believe it will impact both the supply chain and the price on the shelf.
Will prices be affected? I think for short term, we'll have more stock on hand because people won't be purchasing food. We're guardedly optimistic, I guess, to say that we think the supply chain will weather this well.
Schall encourages SNAP recipients to check with local food banks and community resources to help make sure they've got the food they need in the weeks ahead. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Festus passes a law regulating data centers.
Councilman Collier.
Yes.
Councilwoman Templeton.
After the recommendations
Councilman
from Planning and Zoning, City of Festus passed the ordinance regulating data centers Monday night. Festus City Administrator Greg Camp says this is not about keeping data centers away.
We looked at making sure that we were able to codify definition of data centers, but also the steps that they'll have to go through if they decide to come to Festus.
Now, post-build, we have other issues.
Well, okay, so two things. The council kept discussions short before passing the data centers ordinance, which includes noise and light regulations, along with special industrial zoning.
That is Stuart McMillan reporting.
State agencies in Missouri are using AI for a number of tasks, the most common being customer service. The Missouri Department of Revenue features a chatbot on its website named Dora, which stands for Department of Revenue Answers. Spokesman Jodon Cheney tells MissouriNet what most people ask Dora about.
Motor vehicle, that's our top request. People asking about driver's license, that sort of a thing. That's our top request. Then also the next would be tax issues that they're dealing with. And these are general questions.
Cheney says that Dora won't provide detailed information on a person's income tax returns. That information is blocked by security protocols. Instead, anyone making that type of request would be redirected to a web page where you'd have to fill out a security form.
It's a rare show of bipartisanship. Missouri Republican Senator Josh Hawley and several key Democrats are teaming up on a bill to protect kids from artificial intelligence. Their legislation, called the GUARD Act, would make it illegal for companies to provide AI companions to minors. Hawley was asked what kind of action he wants tech companies to take.
They've come and testified. They do it all the time. We are actually very safe. OpenAI just made an announcement that they have perfected their safety guardrails, that they said, we've gone through the testing and our safety guardrails are excellent. Really? Those so-called safety guardrails that they have been testing resulted in the death of one child whose parents are here today. They've resulted in sexual conversations and sexual grooming of millions of children. So I would just say to those companies, endorse this bill. Put your money where your mouth is, endorse the bill, and push this legislation over the finish line. That's how we'll know they're serious.
The bill would create new criminal penalties for companies if their AI shows sexual content to minors, a move Hawley says is necessary to stop chatbots from encouraging self-harm among young users.
St. Charles County Executive Steve Ellman has made his decision.
After announcing 3 years ago he will not seek a sixth term, St. Charles County Executive Steve Ellman has changed his mind, announcing on the Chris and Amy show he will run for re-election. So what caused him to reverse his decision? He says the changing political landscape has him optimistic for the future of St. Charles County and wants to be a part of it.
I can't do that from my front porch, from my rocking chair, so I'm gonna have one last adventure before I take to the rocking chair.
Ellman says he discussed his decision with politicians on both sides of the aisle, along with business and labor leaders, before changing his mind. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
3 candidates have already been in the running to replace Ellman. Mike Elam has publicly said he will not oppose Ellman. Jason Law remains in the race.
From the business desk sponsored by Krentz Financial Group, KFGadvisors.com, a new STEM building is in the works at Harris Stowe State University. It'll be 82,000 square feet with 12 research labs, offices, study spaces, and a large event space with rooftop terrace. It's expected to open along Laclede Avenue in the summer of 2027.
Ever wonder what it's like in the life of a police dog and their partner? I'm Maria Aquina. I will tell you.
She'll have that story after traffic and weather, which is next at 6:08. I'm Tom Ackerman with this month's Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight. We are discussing breast cancer with Dr. Debbie Bennett with Washington University School of Medicine and Siteman Cancer Center. Mammograms, when should people get them? How often should they get them?
People should start getting mammograms at least by age 40. If you don't have a significant family history of breast cancer, then we recommend that you start at 40, and we recommend that you get them every year to give yourself the best chance of finding a breast cancer as early as possible.
What would you say to someone who is nervous to get their mammogram?
Well, that would be everybody. So what I would tell them is that they're doing it for themselves. They're doing it for their families, for their kids. The reason we do mammograms is, as I said, to find cancers as early as possible. If we can find them as early as possible, they're very treatable.
Thanks to Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. For more information, visit siteman.wustl.edu.
House stealing. It's a nightmare that's real. It's the FBI's term for thieves stealing your home's title and draining your equity. Just one fake document filed with a recorder, and scammers can own your home on paper, drain your equity, and do it all without you even knowing. Imagine waking up to a foreclosure or eviction notice. Listen to former title thief Matt Cox.
What people don't realize is the ease in which this crime can happen. I can take the deed to your house and I can transfer that deed into my name. It's a great crime, and it's happening all the time.
So how can you stop the nightmare and protect yourself? Find out if you're already a victim now at HomeTitleLock.com. Use promo code RADIO and get a 30-day free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection, a title scan, and access to a title specialist, a $250 value. Don't wait. Go to HomeTitleLock.com now, promo code RADIO. This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
It is 6:10. Let's get you updated on traffic and weather as it continues to rain this morning, and we will have some rain with us through midday. The latest coming from our AccuWeather meteorologist, but let's see how this is affecting your ride in this morning. Roger Brands in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, it might slow you down just a smidge. I mean, it's not pouring rain, but it's wet enough. We've had one spin out already, so somebody hydroplaned. So there's enough water on the roadways that if you're going a little too quickly or if your tires aren't don't have enough tread depth, there could be an issue. So just be careful, maybe slow it down a little bit. We do have a few slowdowns out there right now, Debbie. Northbound 55 from Highway A up through McNutt. There's a couple of spots where it's bogging down for maybe a quarter mile or so. It's also a little busy in the right lanes, Butler Hill through Mattis, but after that, looks good up into the city. Eastbound 70, still seeing some slow traffic right through Jennings Station, a little delay. We had a report of a minor crash there. I believe it's on the shoulder. It's just hard for me to tell in the dark with the rain exactly what's happening there. And we do have a roadwork slowdown, it looks like, on westbound 70 from Forestel. Goes about midway out to Wright City, and then it opens up eastbound 70. Looking okay for you so far. Southbound 61, eastbound 64, that Wentzville area, everything is still good to go right now. Next update at 6:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
KMOX AccuWeather, breezy and chilly today. Rain and drizzle through midday, then a little drizzle left over this afternoon, or high 56. Mostly cloudy early tonight, followed by clearing late tonight, though 41. Tomorrow will turn out mostly sunny, but brisk and quite cool, high 55. Friday, mostly sunny to high 60. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
We have a steady and pretty heavy rain falling right now in downtown St. Louis. It's 53 degrees. Weather sponsored by Allstate. Wish you could save on home insurance. With Allstate, you could easily save and get quality protection. Yep, it's a win-win. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
It is 6:12. St. Louis police officer Heather Edwards has almost 24 years in the department, and through that time, she has had different partners, but the last 4 years have been spent with the same one, Kane.
So you've done it both ways, with and without. What do you prefer?
The dog. Yes, this is my best. Now, don't get me wrong. I've had some wonderful partners throughout the years, but this by far has been my best partner yet. I don't have to worry about what we're going to eat for dinner. I don't have to worry about what we're going to listen to on the radio. I don't have to worry about if he's having a bad day or if I'm having a bad day. I think we both can equally make each other's day better.
Officer Heather Edwards tells KMOX that Kane is a great dog.
I would hate to have to retire him out when he probably within the next couple of years, because we only work them until maybe, depending on their health, to maybe about 8. We could push from 9, maybe 10, depending on the health and the actual breed, because we do have some Malinois as well.
After you retire him, though, you could still keep him.
Yes, ma'am. As long as he is in good health, he can retire out and be my family pet.
Do you have kids or family?
Yes, I do have a husband. Who's also a police officer. I have a teenage daughter, and I have a male 7-year-old Rottweiler at home. Yes, they do get along. Everybody wonders. They do get along. It was at my speed, but I did incorporate them into each other's world. It took me about 6 months to get them acclimated to each other. However, I have been very successful with that. They are just like the best of friends.
Kane is from Czechoslovakia. He came here at 10 months old, so you can kind of call him bilingual because he understands English. When it comes to commands, though, Officer Edwards gives those to Kane in Czechoslovakian. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
The St. Louis Area Food Bank is the supplier to 588 food pantries across 26 counties in Missouri and Illinois.
I was out at one of our partners on Page Avenue last week. I was down at one of our partners down in Festus, Ozark Food Pantries, and they're all seeing the same thing. More people are coming to them for help, and so we are here to provide hope.
President and CEO Meredith Knopp says food pantries are supporting those who've lost their jobs, those who lost everything in the May tornado, as well as those caught up in the shutdown.
Got Air Force bases in our area. All of our Coast Guard friends that are based at downtown in St. Louis. So there's lots of people seeking help right now.
If you want to help, she says, funds go the longest. She says she can buy a truckload of food for what might usually get just a cart.
With one swing of the bat, the World Series changed. You could just hear the excitement as the Dodgers had the lead. Shohei Ohtani was on the mound. It was 1-0 Dodgers. They have a chance to take a 3-1 series lead after an epic 18-inning win the night before. It all changed with Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
Guerrero now locked up with the Blue Jays for 15 years. This is hammered to left field. Kike Hernandez at the wall. This ball's gonna go. Guerrero Jr. takes Ohtani deep for a go-ahead 2-run homer. 2-1 Toronto in the third inning. It just got over the wall into the home run seats in left field, but that was a laser from Guerrero Jr. His first home run of the World Series, 7th home run of the postseason. Extends his own Blue Jays franchise record for a single post. And he's turned the game upside down.
The call on the Dodgers radio network, that blast, a 2-run homer by Guerrero off Ohtani, helped the Blue Jays, and so did Shane Bieber. He was really good. He outshined Ohtani in his World Series debut. He went 5 1/3, gave up a run on 4 hits. 4 runs allowed by Ohtani, who redefined the concept of short rest by taking the mound just more than 17 hours after he reached base 9 times in Game 3. He allowed 6 hits on those 4 runs pitched into the 7th. The Blue Jays, though, reclaimed home field advantage. They win the game 6-2. It guarantees that the World Series trophy will be handed out at Rogers Center in Toronto. Will it be Game 6 or 7 for the Blue Jays or the Dodgers? It's a 2-2 series. Game 5 is tonight in Los Angeles, with that series locked up now. The Blues have lost 5 in a row. They fell last night at Enterprise Center to the Red Wings. Final score was 5-2. The Blues scored first, and then the bottom fell out. They didn't score again until the third period. The Red Wings built a 4-1 lead at that point. Here is Jim Montgomery, the Blues coach. In fact, we'll wait. We'll play that for you coming up at 6:45 because we want to play the extended version of what he had to say. But for the most part, he liked how the team came out, and then it just fell apart on them. They've lost 5 in a row. They're the last place team in the Central Division. You know who gets fired up here in 5 days? The St. Louis Billikens. Sports Illustrated had them ranked 47th in the nation. So far, we've scanned around. That's the highest anybody has given the Billikens at this point. Perhaps it's because of their 2 victories during the exhibition season, a secret scrimmage in which they beat Iowa at Chaffetz Arena. Then they went over to Peoria and beat Bradley by 20. Perhaps more people paying attention to the depth and the scoring ability of the Billikens, who open their season on Monday night at home at Chaffetz, and we'll have the game here on KMOX against Southeast Missouri State. I'm Tom Ackerman on the voice of the Billikens, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Hi, Margaret with Eamon Gantner and Capriano. We all procrastinate. We put things off, confident we'll have time later. Well, one who procrastinates in choosing will inevitably have their choices made for them by circumstance. Could be an illness or even a death. And it happened to me. I was widowed at 41. It could happen to you. If you procrastinate and fail to plan for your future, for your children, circumstances and the courts will make your plans for you without your input. Eamon Gantner and Capriano help thousands of families plan for their future now. We can be your personal attorney too, guiding you with a will, trust, powers of attorney, Medicaid, and VA. You may delay, but time does not. Eamon Gantner and Capriano, yourestatemasters.com.
The choice of an attorney is an important decision and shouldn't be based solely on advertising.
I love a day on the water with friends, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis sometimes holds me back. Now I'm all in with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi. Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy.
Teaching music is my passion, but my active psoriatic arthritis can limit me at times. Now I'm treating my joint symptoms with Skyrizi.
With Skyrizi, most people with plaque psoriasis saw 90% clearer skin at 4 months.
Or if you are an adult with active psoriatic arthritis, Skyrizi helps you move with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
There's nothing like clearer skin.
There's nothing like better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi. Visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI to learn more.
Debbie Monterrey, Megan Lynch, Tom Ackerman. Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
We have had a steady drizzle, a light rain. I don't know. It's not really light, but it's not pouring. I don't know. Just trying to assess it, looking out the windows here of Studio B. But it's been like this for much of the morning, for hours. So you may run into some standing water. Just be aware as you're leaving the house in the dark. And be careful, please. In the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center, here's Roger Brand.
Now, this traffic report is a service of Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, Debbie. And you're right. I guess it's a heavy drizzle. I mean, I experienced it yesterday every time I walked the dog and got soaked, even though it didn't seem like much. Busy on the highways. We got a little bit of a delay right now. South 270 at 64. There's a stall there. They're in the right lane dealing with it. So just pay attention as you approach that. Of course, 55 is always busy northbound. It's slow approaching 67. There's a brief slowdown past McNutt. The right lane's approaching Butler Hill up through Mattis, and then from about the Union Road overpass up through Virginia is pretty busy. The ramp onto North 270 is slow, and there's pockets up through Gravois where it's just kind of off the pace there. More volume now. All of a sudden, southbound 61 seeing slow traffic from Highway P down onto 64 through Prospect. After that, it opens up and runs well. And downtown, westbound 44 past the Poplar is a little slow, and the Poplar is slowing westbound at Route 3. Still seeing a little delay eastbound 70 at Jennings Station as well. Next update at 6:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by Overhead Door Company of St. Louis.
If you need a new garage door, this could be your lucky day. Entries are now open for the $5,000 sweepstakes at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. A winner will be chosen at random to receive $5,000 towards new garage doors, openers, or front entry doors of their choice. Enter now at overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
Rain and drizzle will continue through midday, tapering to a little drizzle this afternoon. We'll have some breezy conditions today, high 56. Tonight, mostly cloudy, chilly late, low 41. And then tomorrow, the sunshine is back, brisk and cool. A high of 55 degrees. Rain in 53 downtown now.
The news continues at 6:22. Hurricane Melissa slamming ashore in Cuba as a Category 3 storm after pulverizing its way through Jamaica as a Category 5 that made landfall south of Montego Bay, leaving behind catastrophic damage to Jamaica's infrastructure.
Julie Walker reports that one of those now trapped on the island is American tourist Christiane Box, who spoke with the Weather Channel describing how she prepared in her hotel room for what became one of the two strongest ever recorded hurricanes to make landfall in the Western Hemisphere.
What we are anticipating is that we will move into the bathroom. That is probably the most central part, close to the hallway, barricaded around there. There's no bathtub in here, so we don't have, a bathtub to fill up with water. So we filled up trash cans, and we will take our mattress and we will move it into the doorway for the bathroom and go into the shower if we have to. We'll move cushions in there. We've got towels. We have bottled water. We have our emergency bag ready to go. All of our documents and, plenty of water and things like that we're going to, just utilize as we need to and just kind of ration.
In Jamaica, Hurricane Melissa bears down. Roads are flooding. Rain is falling. Surf is churning. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says the devastation will be dire.
There is no infrastructure in the region that can withstand a Category 5.
Flooding, landslides. It would also mean that there could be some marooning of communities. Some communities could be cut off.
A Cat 5 is the highest hurricane there is, says National Hurricane Center specialist Larry Kelly.
This is an extremely dangerous, life-threatening situation for the island of Jamaica, as that eye wall brings those major hurricane Category 5 force winds.
He says expect total structure failure.
Heavy rainfall, flash flooding, just complete devastation. Some of these communities could be cut off from communications and have no power for for weeks.
Kelly says what makes it worse is how slow the hurricane is moving, meaning it will stay over Jamaica longer. I'm Julie Walker.
Israel says the ceasefire in Gaza is once again in effect following what it calls a series of significant strikes targeting dozens of Hamas targets. Reporter Linda Gradstein has more from Jerusalem.
The Israeli army issued a statement Wednesday that the ceasefire is once again in effect after a series of Israeli airstrikes Tuesday and early Wednesday. Those airstrikes came after what Israel called a series of Hamas violations of the ceasefire brokered by President Trump earlier this month. The president backed the Israeli response after an army reservist was killed in southern Gaza.
The Hamas-run health ministry says that more than 100 people, including 35 children, were killed in the Israeli strikes across Gaza.
Republican lawmakers are hammering Senate Democrats who once again voted down the House-passed continuing resolution that would reopen the government.
With air traffic controllers and some other essential personnel now working without pay, Vice President J.D. Vance told reporters Tuesday he believes the military will receive paychecks at the end of the week as the administration works to reconfigure funds to pay the troops. It comes as flight delays and cancellations at numerous airports across the country continue to worsen thanks to controller sickouts. Tammy Norton is an IRS employee in Florida who has been without a paycheck for a number of weeks because of the shutdown.
I'm thinking that, okay, well, maybe we'll just be furloughed for 2 weeks. It's already been a month. So everything is just really hard.
The administration says the SNAP food assistance program, relied on by 42 million Americans, will run out of money on Friday. They have rejected using $5 billion in contingency funds that would keep the program running through November. Democratic Congresswoman Rosa DeLauro.
The money is there. Let us not let them get away with saying that they can't do it.
North Carolina Attorney General Jeff Jackson is suing the Agriculture Department, accusing them of withholding more than $230 million in monthly food assistance in his state.
I believe the reason they're doing that is to play shutdown politics. They are looking to ratchet up the pain in an already very painful moment. This is wrong, and it's against the law.
Republican Marjorie Taylor Greene is speaking out against her party's plan, confronting House Speaker Mike Johnson on a conference call, urging him to call members back into session and negotiate legislation that would extend Obamacare subsidies that Democrats are demanding before agreeing to end the shutdown. Republican Congresswoman Lisa McClain says Democratic resistance is what's keeping the shutdown going.
By the end of this week, nearly 2 million paychecks will be missed by Americans.
On Tuesday, the Senate voted for a 13th time not to pass the House CR. John Stolnis, Washington.
It is 6:27, and the Time Check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
Hey, you want to have a little fun playing sports? Fast breaks, buzzer beaters, basketball is back, and Underdog is the best place to get in on all the action. It's Tom Ackerman for Underdog. You can make entries and win money. Right now in Missouri, playing Underdog is easy. How long have I been telling you this? It's so easy. You download the Underdog app. You choose whether you think players will go higher or lower on stats, and you get your entries right, and you can win up to 5,000 times your cash. It's very easy. I have so much fun with it. NBA, NFL. Download the app today and use promo code TOM to score $100 in bonus funds or bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code TOM. That's really important. I'll say that again. Underdog app, promo code TOM. Underdog, make plays, win money. Must be 18 plus and present in Missouri. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody. Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/deal for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty details.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com.
It is 6:30 and the rain continues to fall. It's 53 degrees downtown. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. Roger Brand, how's it looking out there? Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, a few more troubles have popped up, Tom. We've been talking about the steady rain, and not a downpour, but enough to cause maybe some standing water issues. We already had one crash eastbound 70 at Grand earlier where a car spun out into the median wall. Now we have a minor two-car crash. Again, it's in that same spot, eastbound 70 at Grand. It looks like the left lane's either blocked or partially blocked. It's hard to tell from my vantage point. They're sending EMS for a crash reported eastbound 270 near Lilac. I see one westbound just past Riverview. I think that's another vehicle that hit the median wall there as well. Laclede Station at Newport and Webster Groves, they just dispatched for an injury crash there. Downtown westbound 64 from the 70 split to the Poplar. There's some slow pockets. Northbound 55, 67 up through Highway A around Highway Z. The right lane south of Butler Hill all the way up to 270. All lanes from the Union Road overpass up to Virginia all slow. North 270 now is slow basically from 55 all the way up to Ladue. Out west, southbound 61, almost midway between W and P is starting to bog down onto 64 at the Boulevard. And again, heavy traffic through Winghaven. Eastbound 70 coming through Forestel looks a little heavy as well. Next update at 6:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Joe Lundberg's weather forecast, breezy, chilly, rain, drizzle through midday, tapering off this afternoon, high 56. Cloudy early, then chilly tonight, low 41. But for tomorrow and Friday, we will see the sun again, brisk and cool, high 55, a nice fall day for Thursday. And for Halloween, mostly sunny and a dry evening for trick-or-treating, a high of 60. Rain at 53 right now.
For the first time in a decade, the state of Missouri is developing a new energy plan. Department of Natural Resources Director Kurt Schaefer tells MissouriNet with the demand rising, they need to find ways to develop more energy, especially with energy usage expected to significantly rise in the future.
And then looking at those projections, as I mentioned, which are really, by most entities that evaluate this, determined to be a fairly substantial, really a bigger growth than we've ever seen in this country over the next 15 or 20 years.
He says data centers are not alone in driving the increased demand for energy, but also the push to onshore manufacturing as well.
Cortex has become a hub for scientific innovations in St. Louis.
Maggie Crane, Cortex Senior Vice President, says with innovators operating in one space, it allows for collaboration opportunities to arise across different sectors. She points to Resilient Health as an example of an innovation that came from two different industries collaborating at their entrepreneur training program.
It is a cloud-based platform that is serving as the primary care physicians for entire insurance groups.
Even large organizations like the Gates Ag Foundation are working on new innovations at Cortex. CEO Joe Cornelius says they are working on new developments in photosynthesis.
Photosynthesis is a tremendous opportunity for us to actually increase productivity, increase climate resilience, and improve the overall productivity of the agricultural ecosystem.
Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Big news for women dealing with menopause. The FDA has approved a new pill to treat hot flashes that don't use hormones.
The new daily pill Linqued is the second medication approved to target brain pathways involved in body temperature control. CBS News medical contributor Dr. Celine Gounder.
Well, there are some side effects. So fatigue, headache, for example. They have checked liver toxicity out to a year. We're not seeing any signal there, but that will need to continue to be monitored because we don't have data beyond a year. But so far, it looks very safe.
It could be available as soon as November at the cost of $625 a month without insurance, $25 with insurance. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
The news sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. We'll check your Money Minute next at 6:34.
Explore passion and romance as the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra performs two of the most exhilarating pieces in orchestral music. Violinist Nikolai Shep-Schneider showcases his virtuosity as he soars through Tchaikovsky's Violin Concerto. And music director Stefan Deneuve leads the SLSO in Rachmaninoff's breathtakingly beautiful Second Symphony. Experience this unforgettable performance November 1st and 2nd. Tickets available at slso.org.
Hey, just check the mail. We've been invited to a seminar and dinner is free.
It's going to be chicken, and it'll taste like Play-Doh.
Don't be fooled. All seminars are not the same. For example, Steve All, an investment advisor representative and founder of the All Financial Group, will be hosting his Taxes and Retirement Seminar at the Twisted Tree on November 4th and 6th. From the big beautiful bill to taxes on your Social Security, Steve will not only cover the hurdles you'll face in retirement, but ways to keep more money in your pocket and less in Uncle Sam's. This is a complimentary event, but seating is limited, so reserve your seat today. Call 636-230-8824 or online at yourmoneymattersstl.com.
You know, hon, I've always been interested in us buying a timeshare.
I'd rather eat Play-Doh.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC IPW, or registered investment advisor. Neither the firm nor its agents or representatives may give tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with a qualified professional for guidance before making any purchasing decisions.
It is 6:36, and it's time for your money report. It's sponsored for you by Eamon, Gantner, and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys.
This is Bloomberg Money Minute. Americans are worried about their jobs and making enough money to get by. Consumer confidence fell in October for a third straight month on darkening views about our economic future. The Conference Board gauge is at its lowest level since April. Job growth has significantly slowed, and inflation remains above the Federal Reserve's target. Speaking of that, we hear from the Federal Reserve later today. The central bank is expected to cut interest rates by a quarter point. Ahead of that, stocks are heading for a higher open. S&P futures are up 7 points. Also on the radar, a number of tech giants give us their earnings results, including Meta, Microsoft, and Google parent Alphabet. We hear from all of them after the closing bell today. And the largest owner of casinos in the U.S. says it's been seeing a recovery in visitors to Las Vegas after a soft summer. Caesars Entertainment sees the rebound being driven by conventions, and that should carry into the first quarter of next year. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
Looks like we are definitely out of the massive heat waves that we received this year. But any week when it's 90 degrees during the day and 90 degrees at night is in St. Louis, the humidity is not comfortable and our bills do go up. With that being said, we're coming up in the winter months, and this is the time that you want to get your furnace looked at and checked. It's inexpensive to have it looked at for your peace of mind. And this is also the time of the year where you'll hear during your furnace checkups that you have a bad heat exchanger or you need a new furnace. Call me if you hear that for a second opinion. You'll be happy you did. And it's one easy number in Missouri and Illinois. It's 314-293-2600. Or on the internet, Bart Inman, now that is Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. And God bless.
Feel like everything's clouded by doubt? Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com. Our psychics are available to talk 24/7, and we guarantee if it's not life-changing, it's free. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Snakes, zombies, public speaking. The list of fears is endless. But the real danger is in your hand when you're behind the wheel. Distracted driving is what's really scary and even deadly. Eyes forward. Don't drive distracted. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. Ever wonder why Big Wireless wants you on an unlimited plan? They probably want you to cover the cost of those 20-somethings using all that data every month. But most people 50 and up like me only use 12 gigs or less. Don't get bamboozled by Big Wireless. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Our plans start at just $20, and we use the same towers as the big guys. Join the millions who choose something better, because if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Ouch! Checked from behind. Man, that's gotta hurt.
I'd hire Morgan & Morgan if I were them.
What?
Yeah, Dan, America's largest injury law firm. They serve up justice, ice, cold, law. Know what I mean?
I guess.
Their gloves come off when they fight for you.
Okay.
I'm talking a settlement slapshot.
Shouldn't we be talking about the game?
Yeah, Dan, Morgan & Morgan.
Proud partner of the St. Louis Blues. Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
If you want thick, healthy, gorgeous hair,
Then you need Hair Volume from New Nordic. Available as a tablet or delicious gummy, Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and newnordicusa.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
Get ready for Thursday Night Football as the Ravens face the Dolphins.
Siteman Cancer Center game time 6:30. Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer.
The Ravens, the Dolphins on 104.1 FM KMOX.
640, back to Roger Brand, overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, lots of slow traffic out there right now, Tom. This traffic report's a service of the St. Louis Zoo. If you're traveling up on 55, a little busy at 67, there's slow traffic in the right lanes, south of Butler Hill up to 270, all lanes from the Union Road overpass up to Virginia, north 270 as you ramp on from 55, bogged down through Gravois, and then 44 all the way up almost to Olive, south 270, Olive to 64, that's busy. Southbound 61 from Highway P down onto 64 to 364. Through Winghaven. The 94 to Research Park is a little busy after that. If you're on eastbound Highway 70, it's a little slow down near the weigh scales east of Forestell, right around Highway Z and then A to Lake St. Louis Boulevard. It's heavy. Cave Springs to Zembel, 5th Street across the Blanchette Bridge is kind of slow through there. Coming out of Cool Valley, both ways a little busy there. We had a crash, 270. It's near Riverview eastbound, a little slow there. They were also reporting one, 255 near Lindbergh, but I'm not seeing any delays to that point. Downtown, eastbound 44 past the bridges is slow, and westbound 64 from the 70 split across the Poplar is off the pace. Next update at 6:50 from the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Sponsored by the St. Louis Zoo. Don't miss Boo at the Zoo at the St. Louis Zoo. Enjoy festive Halloween decorations, zoo attractions, and animals, including the zoo's newest resident, Charlie the Komodo Dragon. Boo at the Zoo runs nightly from 5 to 8:30 p.m. and ends on October 30th. Get tickets now at stlzoo.org.
6:41, and time for us to check in with our AccuWeather meteorologist, Joe Lundberg, as the rain continues to fall in the St. Louis area.
It does indeed, Debbie. And I'm going to say this, enjoy it, because we're not going to get much in the way of rain that we still kind of need, believe it or not, across the area. We're probably not going to see much after today for the next couple of weeks across the area. It's going to stay pretty cool behind the storm system, too. So rainy today, that tapers to some drizzle and then finally ends late this afternoon or this evening. About 56 for high, so temperatures really just go nowhere. Mostly cloudy this evening, then it clears out later tonight. By morning, we're down in the low 40s. The sun returns tomorrow, but it doesn't warm up. It's still only going to be the mid-50s, a little milder with sunshine on Friday, the high 60s. Should be pretty good for trick-or-treating in the evening. More clouds Saturday, can't rule out a shower late in the day or at night, the high 55, some sun Sunday 56. I do see a warming trend, though, as we go into next week. 53 at St. Peter's, 54 in Florissant, raining, and 55 downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It's 6:42. A growing movement is changing how patients get primary care. It's called direct primary care, and it allows patients to pay a regular fee in exchange for unlimited access to certain medical services. CBS's Jim Axelrod reports.
In Bangor, Maine, Jeff Clark has something a lot of Americans do not. High marks for his healthcare checkup.
How did the expectation of what this experience would be like measure up to the reality once you were here?
If I was doing it in a dream, it was exactly like my dream.
Clark is a new patient of Allie and Brad Tuttle.
Scan the QR code.
Yep. The husband and wife who started Apotheosis Health, offering something called direct primary care.
It is simplified healthcare. Me and you.
After a decade of working at cancer centers, Brad, a nurse, and Allie, a nurse practitioner, now offer an alternative care model that cuts out the insurance middleman.
Kind of going back to the family doctor feel, where you go in, you're not rushed, really develop that relationship.
For less than $100 a month, patients get the basics: physicals, blood tests, discounted prescriptions, and a patient-first attitude.
If you can only be seen on Saturday mornings, we'll make that work for you.
1/3 of Americans do not have primary care providers, which drives up chronic disease rates, hospitalizations, and late diagnoses.
A lot of cancer is preventable with screenings, mammograms, colonoscopies. If you don't have a primary care provider ordering these things for you, they're not getting done.
About a quarter of primary care today is done by healthcare providers who are not physicians, but instead nurse practitioners like Allie.
If your issues are complex you need to see a specialist for that. Most things, though, can be addressed here.
A decade ago, there were 140 practices across the U.S. Today, there are nearly 3,000. For Danny Cotu, the Tuttles provide exactly what she feels she needs. And she was diagnosed with leukemia last year.
Do you feel in control of your health care?
Absolutely. Yes, I feel that I'm the driver and they're my co-pilots.
Plus, in an age of physician burnout, with relentless patient quotas to be met, this approach, say the Tuttles, is not just good for the patients, but good for the providers.
You gotta put it right here.
And their families.
It increases like a work-life balance for providers, and that's why we're here. Is we have 3 kids. We'd like to spend some time with them.
That's not something we hear a lot about these days from providers or patients. Satisfaction. For Eye in America, I'm Jim Axelrod in Bangor, Maine.
6:45 and the World Series has taken a turn. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. with a 2-run homer off Shohei Ohtani got the Blue Jays going. That's their brand of baseball. They bashed the ball around the ballpark, and they did just that to build a lead. But really what won it for the Blue Jays last night was the pitching of Shane Bieber facing Shohei Ohtani.
It eliminated that pitch the rest of the night. Strike 3. Sword from John Tumpane, the home plate umpire. Second time that Bieber has struck out his pitching counterpart.
That's right. 2 strikeouts of Ohtani last night. He went 5 1/3. Bieber giving up just 1 run. And the Blue Jays win the game 6-2. They even the World Series at 2 games apiece with Game 5 tonight in L.A. And there will be a Game 6 in Toronto. For those of you hosting trick-or-treaters, you can have the World Series on while all of that's going on. Game 6 will either be a 3-2 lead for L.A. or Toronto. Albert Pujols interviewed with the San Diego Padres for a second time yesterday. That could make him the front runner for the managerial position. Kevin Acee of the San Diego Union Tribune reports that they met for several hours with Pujols, the legendary Cardinals slugger who has made no doubt that he is seeking a managerial position. There have been a few open, and the Padres look like they are in pursuit of Pujols. We'll see what comes out of that. As for the Blues, they lost last night 5-2 to the Red Wings. Yes, another heavy goal-scoring output by the opponent and another loss for the Blues. They have now dropped 5 in a row. Their coach, Jim Montgomery.
We're not protecting the ice that we value the most. We like to protect the middle of the ice. We like to attack the middle of the ice. And defensively, it's just, we don't give up a lot, and then all of a sudden we give up a chance, like the 4th goal. Like the guy standing in the blue paint all alone, We just got to continue right now when things aren't going your way. Again, the first 2 goals are deflection goals. I got to be honest, I don't know if I've ever seen this many deflection goals go against any team I've ever coached before. We got to do a better job of controlling sticks so that we make life a little easier on our goaltenders here because, we play good hockey in stretches and we don't give up much. And then all of a sudden, bang. I mean, it was 2-1 and I think Benner made 2 breakaway saves.
And the Blues lost this game. They host the Canucks tomorrow night. The Blues have just 7 points this season. They're 3-6-1. Worst record in the Central Division. I'm Tom Ackerman on the Voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And that's what you get with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. With more than 45 years' experience serving its members, United Healthcare has plans with low monthly premiums that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th. So go to uhc.com/Medicare today. United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage Missouri can count on.
I dared Archwell Health to keep track of my vitals and my grandkids' names.
I dared Archwell Health to simplify my prescriptions. So Max and I have more time to play. Good boy.
And I dared Archwell Health to be closer than my neighborhood coffee shop. Our members dared us to do more as a primary care provider for adults age 60 and up. So we made it our mission. Visit archwellhealth.com and become a member today. Archwell Health. We dare to care.
This is Justin Brown with Krinz Financial Group. For over 6 decades, we've helped St. Louis families and businesses plan with purpose and live with confidence. As retirement approaches, one question matters most. How will you replace your paycheck? With decades of experience, we've helped retirees turn uncertainty into clarity through personalized income planning and steady guidance. Our proactive strategies are designed so you can enjoy the retirement you worked your lifetime for, with clarity, confidence, and peace of mind. Your goals, our mission. Start today at kfgadvisors.com.
Securities offered through Raymond James Financial Services. Member FINRA/SIPC. Krinz Financial Group is our broker-dealer.
KMOX welcomes Trans-Siberian Orchestra, The Ghosts of Christmas Eve at Enterprise Center, December 23rd at 3 p.m. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. A portion of the proceeds benefits Siteman Kids at St. Louis Children's Hospital. Trans-Siberian Orchestra, The Ghosts of Christmas Eve at Enterprise Center, December 23rd at 3 p.m. For more information, KMOX.com/events.
Your morning news and information. Total Information AM.
6:50, and yep, it's still raining out there. If you haven't poked your head outside, maybe go back to bed if you can. It's just another cold, damp morning, but we've got to look at the forecast coming up after we check the roadways. Roger Branson, the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, and they're slow right now, Debbie, depending on where you are. Well, almost everybody has a slowdown. This traffic reports a service of Financial and Tax Strategies on the south side, northbound 55 into 67A up toward McNutt's, kind of busy. The right lanes at Butler Hill, Bayless all the way to Virginia. North 270 is your ramp on from 55. You've got slow traffic all the way up through to 44, and then north of 44 all the way to Ladue. South 270, all of the 64 is busy. Southbound 61P onto 64. Pockets in through Winghaven. Eastbound 70 delays approaching Wentzville Parkway, and then from A almost all the way through Bryan Road is the busiest part running that way. South 170 bogs down at Delmar. If you're on the Illinois side, westbound 64 from the 70 split to the Poplars busy. Eastbound 255 at the Lee May Ferry exit, a minor crash and a little bit of a slowdown through there right now as well. Next update at 6:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Retirement shouldn't feel like balancing a checkbook while blindfolded. I'm Gary Goldberg, and my team helps you see the big picture so you can retire younger, richer, and with less anxiety. Because guessing is not a strategy. Tune in to Wealth and Wisdom with Gary Goldberg Saturday mornings at 7 here on KMOX.
Weather forecast, it is going to be chilly. I'll tell you what, though, I loved what I heard from Joe earlier about the fact that we might not get rain for 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, we did need the rain, but enough's enough right now. It's a little dreary.
I know. I just want to get back outside. Tapering to a little drizzle this afternoon. This rain's going to continue through midday, high 56 tonight. Mostly cloudy, clearing, chilly late, low 41. Tomorrow, here we go. Sunshine, brisk, cool, high 55. Friday, sunny, and a dry evening for trick-or-treating, a high of 60. Currently, it's raining. We have 53 downtown at the Arch.
It is 6:53, and the big question for St. Charles County Police is where a cache of stolen firearms may be headed. Investigators are looking into it after multiple suspects broke into Crown Guns on Old Highway 94 and made off with weapons. Here's Police Corporal Barry Bales.
The owner has to do basically an examination to figure out how many were taken, which ones, the specific identity of each firearm. So we're giving him some time today to do that, but this is a high priority.
Bales says they're trying to get the guns off the streets before they're used in a crime.
Also, a man from Honduras pleaded guilty to killing a St. Louis police officer while driving drunk and high on multiple drugs. Ramon Chavez Rodriguez, who is in the country without legal documentation, admitted in court yesterday to losing control of his speeding car on a rainy night last fall, striking and killing Officer David Lee on I-70. Lee was an 18-year veteran of the force. Chief Robert Tracy says, quote, Officer Lee will forever remain a hero in our hearts. Chavez Rodriguez now faces 5 to 15 years in prison.
This winter, St. Louis city officials are planning to spend $9 million more than 1,000 temporary on more than 1,000 temporary shelters for those displaced by the May tornado. According to the Post-Dispatch, a proposal outlines plans for one shelter with up to 1,000 beds, others for 500 each, and they're aiming to open that by December 1st. With more than 5,000 structures damaged and many lacking insurance, officials say that much more housing aid may be necessary.
I heard it's somebody's birthday.
Birthday excitement. It's your birthday.
A trio of actors born on this date. He is 78 today.
I think that I am familiar with the fact that you are going to ignore this particular problem until it swims up and bites you on the ass.
No, boy. Richard Dreyfuss is 78. You can say that on KMOX. It's fine. Actress Kate Jackson. Yeah, from Charlie's Angels. She's 77 today. Appeared in several TV series, but I think she's best known for one of the original Charlie's Angels.
For sure.
Yeah. Also celebrating a birthday is Winona Ryder. She is 54 today.
Who had a great career resurgence thanks to Stranger Things.
That is true. This is from Little Women.
Stupidly stubborn, especially you. We don't need quarrel.
I wouldn't.
You can't even propose without quarreling.
Who else? What about some local celebs?
Well, those local birthdays are sponsored by Renner Garage Door, RENNER, forward and back, family owned and top rated, RennerDoorSTL.com. By the way, to get a birthday or anniversary in this segment, just email totalam@KMOX.com. Happy birthday wishes going out to Bob Clamoris and Catherine Hamaker.
This is the best birthday ever.
McKelvey Homes, 1898 when they were born. They are the best, the oldest home builder in the state of Missouri. That would be McKelvey Homes. Why choose McKelvey? Well, as I mentioned, they're the best. They're the most experienced. They have been around for that long, but they also choose the best home sites. And this has always been the case. They choose the best home sites. They build the best. They are long-standing with tradition and quality craftsmanship, exceptional value. They're committed to the highest standards of excellence at McKelvey Homes, and I've been witness to that. Whether you choose one of their thoughtfully designed communities or you prefer a custom home on your own lot, McKelvey builds in the most sought-after locations. These are places where families truly want to live. And you can go right down the list at McKelveyHomes.com. Afton, Chesterfield, Cottleville, Creve Coeur, Darting Prairie, Ellisville. Did I hit one that you liked so far? O'Fallon, Missouri, Olivet, Rock Hill, St. Charles, St. Louis, Wildwood, McKelveyHomes.com. Move up to McKelvey.
From your friends at Lombardo Homes, congrats to Dave Glover and the DGS Show on 25 years of building something great. Thanks for keeping St. Louis entertained, informed, and laughing all along the way.
Hey Dave, it's Tamara, the flavor temptress, and your good friend from Clementine's Ice Cream. I just wanted to say congratulations on 25 years. Not only are you the sexiest man in daytime radio, but you're probably the only man with the best looking feet. Here's to the next 25. Cheers to you, my friend.
Hey guys, Kevin Wheeler here for 213 Complex, which is available at Supplement Superstores. A 213 Complex is simply the best all-natural weight loss supplement that you will find on the marketplace anywhere. First thing that it does, and this is the most important, is that it gets your metabolism working at optimal levels. Like 80% of the population has a metabolism that isn't working at that level, and 213 Complex gets you there. Now, it's not like something you're going to feel in the moment, but you're going to feel the results because you pull the belt and it's a little tighter. I found that out a couple of weeks ago, and it's easier to pull to those tighter belt notches because you're losing the weight. And of course, on top of the metabolism boost, you're going to get help with those cravings every day. You're going to get all day focused energy, no crash at the end of the day that comes with those energy drinks. And you're going to get lower cortisol levels, which can help with stress and sleep. And look, losing weight's not easy. If it was, everybody would be thin, but 213 Complex is the help that you can need to get a jump on the holidays or on the new year, whatever you like. Just go to Supplement Superstores, tell them Kevin Wheeler sent you in. They'll knock 30% off 213 Complex, and you can find your location at supplementsuperstores.com.
All right, let's check in with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we're slow on North 270W as you ramp on from 55, most of the way to 44, and then just north of 44, bogged down all the way up through to Ladue. Eastbound 70, Wentzville Parkway, all the way into almost 79 is pretty busy. Southbound 61 from Highway P down into 64 to 364. heavy as well. Next update at 7:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
And the rain was heavy, and it continues to fall. We'll have the update for you. The rain right now is still falling downtown. It's 53 degrees. I'm Tom Ackerman. These are the stories making news.
What's the impact at the grocery store if food stamps run out?
Will prices be affected? I think for short term, if we'll have more stock on hand.
I'm Michael Calhoun with the latest.
I'm Debbie Monterrey.
The city of Festus is now regulating data centers just in case someone wants to build one there.
We want to be out in front of this.
I'm Stuart McMillan with that story.
I'm Sean Malone. Steve Ellman makes his decision on the 2026 race. I've got that story coming up.
High of 56 today. Game 5 of the World Series is tonight. Series is tied 2-2.
America's most trusted voice for news. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is the CBS News World News Roundup, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. Hurricane Melissa pelted Cuba with torrential rain as it made landfall there this morning as a Category 3 system that's significantly weaker than the massive Category 5-sized punch it delivered to Jamaica yesterday. Winds of more than 200 miles an hour devastated the island. Government Minister Matthew Samuda.
Well, immediate assessments, certainly since about 8 o'clock last night, have been to determine the communities that are most marooned, most cut off.
CBS's Jason Allen is in Old Harbor.
Cars are underwater. Many homes have turned into piles of rubble. Buildings still standing are flooded. And officials say rescue efforts for at least 3 families were stopped due to unsafe conditions.
Israel says the ceasefire's resumed. Cleanup is underway following IDF strikes overnight that health officials say killed more than 100 people in Gaza. Linda Gradstein reports from Jerusalem.
Israel says it hit dozens of what it called terror targets and terror operatives in response to ceasefire violations by Hamas, including RPG fire that killed an Israeli reservist in southern Gaza. Hamas said it was not responsible for that attack, but President Trump supported the Israeli retaliation. On Wednesday, Israel said the ceasefire was now back in effect.
President Trump is in South Korea, where both sides say they've advanced trade talks before Mr. Trump addresses the top item on his Asia agenda.
President Xi of China is coming tomorrow here, and we're going to be, I hope, making a deal. I think we're going to have a deal. I think it'll be a good deal for both.
The president threatening 100% tariffs on Chinese imports starting Saturday. The White House has fired all 6 members of an agency that would have reviewed President Trump's new ballroom. Correspondent Michael Wallace.
Congress created the Commission of Fine Arts more than a century ago to offer design advice on projects in the capital region. The Washington Post obtained the White House email informing the commissioners their jobs have been terminated. President Trump wants to install allies on the commission as he plans the $300 million ballroom at the White House and the triumphal arch he wants to build across the Potomac River from the Lincoln Memorial.
The World Series, even now at 2 games apiece.
There's a fly ball to deep left center field. Headed back there. It is gone.
Vladimir Guerrero Jr.'s homer helped power the Blue Jays to a 6-2 win over the Dodgers on Fox. Toronto pitcher Shane Bieber outdueled Shohei.
It's the same group of guys each and every day that continue to put the work in, continue to compete, continue to rely on each other. And it's an absolute pleasure to play for them.
Dow futures are up 88. S&P futures ahead 21. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Let me tell you about this new pretzel cheddar club. Hey, I'm Carlos.
And I'm Ebony. And a little thing we love about the Chick-fil-A Pretzel Cheddar Club
is the tangy Dijon with the pretzel bun. It takes it to a whole nother level.
It goes perfectly with the chicken and the cheddar cheese and the bacon.
Man, you know how much you love bacon. And I love the different varieties. Grilled, spicy, original. It gets you nice and excited for fall.
Order the Pretzel Cheddar Club with Cherry Berry and Sprite for a limited time on the Chick-fil-A app. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
There's nothing like when you get that part from eBay and it just fits. Yeah, the first time. So you can do less of this and get right back to more of this. At eBay, you'll find all the parts you need, guaranteed to fit, at prices you'll love. Sounds good, doesn't it? eBay, things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
It is 7:04, and right now the rain continues to fall. It is 53 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. This is how the government shutdown could really impact the local economy.
Grocery stores across Missouri are bracing for financial fallout if SNAP, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, is not funded in Missouri because of the federal shutdown. Dan Schall, executive director of the Missouri Grocers Association, says that some areas of Missouri have a higher SNAP usage rate.
I think it's going to be a concern regardless of where you live, but certain urban and rural areas both have a high SNAP propensity. Central part of the state around military bases, several of our servicemen and women are on SNAP as well. So I think this is going to be a problem that affects all citizens in the state of Missouri.
Schall tells MissouriNet SNAP recipients will still be able to use any remaining October benefits in November and beyond. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
St. Charles County Councilman David Hammond took to social media to call those losing SNAP benefits lazy people who get free food. When contacted by Channel 4, Hammond declined to comment, saying he didn't want to talk about it anymore. In St. Charles County, about 3% of households receive SNAP benefits. It's closer to 8% in St. Louis County. In some southern Missouri counties, it's over 20%. According to the Missouri Budget Project, most SNAP recipients worked most of the year, at least 30 hours a week. Their jobs simply don't pay enough.
A not-so-new candidate has entered the race for St. Charles County Executive.
After a great deal of thought and consultation, I have decided to go and run again for county executive.
Five-time incumbent Steve Ellman on the Chris and Amy Show announcing he will be running for a sixth term leading St. Charles County. Ellman previously announced he would not run again 3 years ago and says the changing political landscape changed his mind.
I've got a great county council that works with me. I've got the right people in place now in Washington, D.C., in Jefferson City, and at East West Gateway.
Ellman says this has him more optimistic for progress in St. Charles County in a long time, and he wants to be a part of that. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
There are three other Republican candidates, Bill Eigel, Jason Law, and Mike Elam. Law tells KMOX he plans to stay in the race, while Elam has said publicly he will not run against Ellman. KMOX left a voicemail with Eigel.
Bill 4858 has passed.
The city of Festus has a new law just in case data centers want to build there.
Do you have something you want to say?
I would just add, too, in our zoning code.
This is Stuart McMillan. I spoke with Festus City Administrator Greg Camp about a new law that passed unanimously during Monday night City Council meeting, regulating the process for future potential data centers. Curious about planting in the city of Festus. Camp says this isn't an anti-data centers bill. It's just a roadmap to follow.
We don't want a developer to come to us and us not have rules, regulations, protections in place.
The new law controls how and where data centers can operate. It includes strict noise and light regulations, requires developers to first notify and meet with neighbors before construction.
It's 7:07. The bad news, the St. Louis County Jail needs upgrades that could cost $13 million. The good news, that is cheaper than the upgrades needed for the county headquarters. County Executive Sam Page is asking for money for critical needs in the jail, with most of that money going toward a new sprinkler system, according to the Business Journal. Page's office says the current sprinkler system is causing flooding issues. Page says the jail is currently in compliance with fire codes, but neglect could change that. The Roos building, the county headquarters, is out of compliance. The discussion continues on whether to repair or replace.
Business Desk sponsored by Krentz Financial Group, KFGadvisors.com. A groundbreaking later today for the APA of Missouri's new North County campus. Shelter dogs will be on hand along with local elected officials and supporters of the $27 million project. Construction is expected to start early next year with the first phase opening in 2027. APA North on Benham Road near 367 in Redmond is designed to make pet adoptions convenient with veterinary care, community programs, and pet owner support. That groundbreaking scheduled for 11:30 this morning.
Speaking of dogs,
I'm Maria Kina. I will introduce you to a police dog and his partner.
That's coming up after traffic and weather. It's 7:08.
It's the Medicare Advantage annual enrollment period, and Humana knows not everyone has the same needs when picking a Medicare Advantage plan.
Now that I'm retired, I want to enjoy the life I've worked hard to build. So I want a plan that covers me when I'm traveling the country.
Humana has a plan for that.
As a veteran, I want a plan that fills in the gaps my VA coverage doesn't provide, like dental care.
Humana has a plan for that.
I feel good about my health. I just want care and coverage with predictable costs. No surprises.
Humana has a plan for that. With a Humana Medicare Advantage plan, you get coverage and benefits that focus on what matters most to you. Learn more at gethumana.com. Humana, a more human way to healthcare. Humana is a Medicare Advantage HMO and PPO organization with a Medicare contract. Enrollment in any Humana plan depends on contract renewal.
Let Banner Construction show you what a difference James Hardy can make to your home. Banner's exterior design team will show you custom design options to transform your home into the neighborhood showplace. Banner is a preferred James Hardy and Pella Windows specialist. With winter just around the corner, now is the time to think about Pella Windows for energy efficiency and comfort. Call Banner Construction 314-569-1050 to schedule your free in-home consultation, or the website bannerconstruction.com, and have a banner day.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. So as you know, I'm a lawyer, haven't practiced in a long time, but I did plaintiff's work and defense work, so I have a pretty good understanding of it. I have a pretty good idea of who's who in the firmament of plaintiffs' attorneys. And for my money, Mark Cantor is the guy. He's a great attorney. He is a great practitioner. He's put together a great team. He was born and raised here. He lives here. He works here. He wins here. Call 314-628-ALL-9s or CantorInjuryLaw.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision. It should not be based on advertising.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
At 7:10 on this very rainy, wet morning, let's get you updated on traffic and weather, starting with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, at least there haven't been too many serious problems out there this morning, Debbie, but just lots of slow going because of the weather. Like you said, the roads are wet, so pace is slower. I'm seeing a backup right now, northbound Telegraph from, pretty much Herb Road all the way up to Pottle, bumper to bumper through there right now. Northbound 55 nearby, you've got the slow going, approaching 67 in pockets, up toward McNutt around Highway Z, the right lane south of Butler Hill up to 270. Bogged down again from the Union Road overpass all the way up through Virginia. North 270 ramping on from 55 pretty much all the way up to Ladue is just slow the whole way. Southbound 270 approaching 364 down to 64 is busy. Eastbound 70 east of David Hochul Parkway all the way into 79, 94 all the way in through the Rock Road. That's just off the pace as well. Southbound 61 backs up north of Wentzville Parkway, and again, a lot of slow traffic all the way in almost to Highway K, and then 94 to Research Park after that. South 170 bogs down at about Delmar. Westbound 64 Hampton headed out through Big Bend is busy. Eastbound 70 through Cool Valley. Page is jammed from 270 in through to Chutes. It looks like there could be some trouble there. We don't normally see it that bad. And westbound 64 backs up Ball Avenue most of the way to the Poplar. Next update is 7:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Breezy and quite cool today. We'll have rain and drizzle through the morning and midday hours, and then a little leftover drizzle this afternoon, our high 56. Lingering clouds this evening, followed by clearing later tonight, low 41. Tomorrow will turn out mostly sunny, brisk and quite cool, high 55, or sunshine Friday with a high near 60. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Rain and 53 degrees right now downtown at the Arch.
It is now 7:12 on Total Information AM. What's it like to be a police officer whose partner is a dog? KMOX's Maria Kina spoke with St. Louis City Police Officer Heather Edwards, the only female canine officer in the region.
Edwards tells KMOX there were two incidents early in her career that guided her toward having a four-legged partner.
One was a call for a possible suspicious package, and the other one allowed me to get my first and biggest drug bust.
Now, at that time, Edwards was not in the canine division. She moved to canine 4 years ago. Her partner, Kane, belonged to another canine officer who retired. Kane, he came from Czechoslovakia when he was about 10 months old.
He was awaiting at the K-9 school. I think when our department transfers came out on a Friday, they said, hey, you'll go up to our K-9 school and meet your dog on Sunday.
So who chose who?
He chose me. The entire time that I was driving up to the K-9 school, I was praying the whole time.
Edwards didn't know anything about Kane, not even his name.
You've been a police officer without a canine, though.
Yes, ma'am. I've been on the police department a total of 23 years. I'll be starting my 24th year in November.
Did you start when you were 10?
No. No, I started when I was 24. I'm currently now 48. So
you look fabulous.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I enjoy what I do. I think that's probably the magic key to, still looking young while doing this job.
Canine Officer Kane just turned 6 in June. And a fun fact, he's bilingual. His commands, Officer Edwards gives him, are in Czechoslovakian. Maria Kina, KMOX News.
State government in Missouri is making wide use of artificial intelligence, including the Department of Revenue. The department's home webpage features a chatbot named Dora that can be used to answer general questions about motor vehicle registration, driver's licenses, and taxes. Spokesman John Cheney tells Missouri Net Dora was upgraded to generative AI system earlier this year.
We updated Dora so that it's now a learning application where it goes in and it looks at the information on our website and then processes that and compiles that and is able to provide quality information.
Cheney says customers can get wrong answers depending on how they ask a question, stating that Dora is only a chatbot that draws on banked information. It's 7:15. What a performance by Shane Bieber last night for the Toronto Blue Jays. 5 1/3, gives up 1 run, and the Blue Jays hold down the Dodgers. 6-2 is the final. It's a 2-2 series, meaning the World Series is going back to Toronto on Friday. Game 5 is tonight. Here's Ken Rosenthal on the field with Bieber.
Shane, it seemed like the odds were against you tonight. You're without George Springer. You're up against Shohei Ohtani. What is it about this team that makes it so resilient?
We don't care. Obviously, it's tough to lose a guy like George for just one game. Hoping he can get healthy as soon as possible. But at the same time, we have so many guys that are capable of impacting the game in a positive way. And since I got traded over here, that's exactly who we've been. And, it's just a pleasure to be a part of this group.
No matter what happens tomorrow, this series is headed back to Toronto. You played a huge role in making that happen. Shane, with all you've been through, where does this moment rank in your career?
Biggest start of my career. Obviously, coming off of Tommy John and, I'm feeling pretty good, all things considered, but at the same time, like I said, coming off of Tommy John, I'm very grateful for the opportunity. And it was a big team win. I would have loved to been able to get through a couple more innings just coming off of last night. Like, what a game that was. And at the same time, these guys picked me up in a huge way. Flew Hardy, Chris Bassett, what can you say about that guy? Like, one of my all-time favorites very quickly. And I already let him know that, but excited to celebrate with the guys and move on to tomorrow.
Shane Bieber, he is one cool customer. So is Chris Bassett, by the way. Ken Rosenthal with the interview on Fox. A 6-2 win for Toronto over LA. World Series even at 2 games apiece with Game 5 tonight. The Blues host the Canucks tomorrow night. They have some serious problems going on right now. They lost to the Red Wings last night at Enterprise Center 5-2. Coach Jim Montgomery asked if it's a communication problem out on the ice.
Well, there's 2 things that are definitely going on. There's guys that are not confident right now. So when you're not confident, you're a little hesitant. So you're not, you don't have the puck as much. You're not killing plays as much, especially defensively. And then, with the other part is just not trying to say this where as a team, you have a sense that, you know exactly where you're going to go with the puck. And right now that fluidity to our game isn't there consistently. And when it's not, like the first 10 minutes of the first and the first 10 minutes of the second, it was there. When it evaporates, it's like we don't back each other up the correct way.
The Blues have some time here. They've only played 10 games. They're 3-6-1. Their season hasn't evaporated just yet, but they only have 7 points, and they're in last place in the Central Division. I'm Tom Ackerman on the Voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Dan owed an unbelievable amount of money to the IRS.
I got behind on my taxes. It's a horrible feeling.
He was in denial.
And when I got those letters from the IRS, you wanted to act like they didn't exist.
Finally, Dan turned to Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima got me a settlement with the IRS. These people are really people-friendly. It was every bit of a new lease on life for me.
The fast action and the great results made Dan's head spin.
I felt like I was in a dream, but it's real. And I have paperwork to prove it. They got the job done, and life is good.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation.
If you're worried about what's going to happen with the IRS, stop worrying. Make the call now.
Call 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Halloween is Friday. That means you have only 2 more days after this to get the great deal from Genesis of St. Charles, which is this month only 0% APR for up to 60 months on all new Genesis models in stock. On approved credit, see dealer for details. And do they have some new Genesis models in stock? They are loaded with inventory, and these vehicles are very attractive. And if you want to trade, a lot of people want to trade in. They are offering more for your pre-owned vehicle than ever before. Again, this offer absolutely ends October 31st. It's Genesis of St. Charles. Keep in mind, Genesis, the #1 Genesis dealer in Missouri, Genesis of St. Charles, every purchase comes with 3 years of complimentary Genesis service valet, all the good things that come with that. It's a great location, 5601 Veterans Memorial Parkway, off Mid-Rivers Mall Drive and I-70. You will love walking around that building. I assure you of that. Missouri's first and only standalone Genesis dealership, genesisofstcharles.com.
Now the news at 9, The Talk. The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 7:20 and time to check traffic and weather. It's been a pretty wet, sloppy morning. It's been raining for hours. Let's get the latest on the roadways from Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, just slow as you go out there this morning. You have to expect that, Debbie. Northbound 55 slow into 67. There's slow stuff Butler Hill to 270 from Union Road all the way up past Virginia. Northbound Telegraph Herb up to Pottle still jammed. North 270 as you ramp on from 55 a backup. But then, like I said, just off the pace all the way up almost to Olive. Southbound 270, 364 down to 64 slow. Eastbound 70 east of David Hochul Parkway most of the way to 79. 370 through Cave Springs, 94 to the Rock Road. That's all busy. Southbound 61 north of Wentzville Parkway onto 64 to the Boulevards. Heavy. A couple of spots, Research Park to the Boone Bridge. Out of the valley to about Timberlake and around the Interbelt. The Interbelt delays at Delmar. Westbound 64. Boyle headed to Hanley. There's just slow stuff along the line there. If you're on westbound 270 past Riverview, a little busy. Downtown, we've got the slow traffic on 64 from about 25th Street and 5570 from Exchange headed across the Poplar as well. Next update at 7:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Weather-wise, Joe Lundberg says this rain will taper off through midday and then taper off this afternoon, high 56. And then that's it for the rain for a while. Mostly cloudy early, clearing, chilly late, low 41. Tomorrow, sun, high 55. Friday, sunny, high 60. A dry evening for the trick-or-treaters. Right now, it's rainy and 53 downtown.
The news continues at 7:22. Hurricane Melissa tore through Jamaica yesterday with wind gusts topping 200 miles an hour. It's moved on now to Cuba. We get more from CBS News meteorologist Rob Marciano.
We'll get off the eastern tip of Cuba later on this afternoon, begin to accelerate, but the next stop is the Bahamas, where obviously hurricane warnings are posted here. The southern part of the Bahamas, the good news is it kind of splits the main parts of Turks and the main parts of the Bahamas, but it will then accelerate towards Bermuda, where there's a hurricane watch out, likely a Category 1 there.
Authorities in Cuba have evacuated more than 700,000 people to shelters. The U.S. National Hurricane Center says Melissa is forecast, as Rob said, to move to the Bahamas later Wednesday. Jamaica is still busy assessing the damage there.
And our weather coverage is sponsored by Lion's Choice, where you can enjoy a quick and delicious meal, but make it healthy with plenty of low-cal, low-carb, vegetarian, and gluten-free options. There's something to satisfy everyone on the Lion's Choice menu. Stop by today, Lion's Choice.
Israel's military says the ceasefire is back on in Gaza after it carried out heavy airstrikes overnight across the Palestinian territory. Here's the BBC's Sebastian Usher.
The Israeli military has issued a statement this morning saying that it struck 30 militant commanders. Didn't give more details about who they were or where they were. Reports that we have from medical sources, from officials in Gaza, say that a number of children were killed, a number of women were killed.
China has confirmed that President Trump and Xi Jinping will meet on the sidelines of the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit in South Korea. Reporter Alex Jensen in Seoul with a preview of what the two men are expected to discuss.
President Trump's confident of a deal with China, making this summit with Xi Jinping a potentially vital turning point for key U.S. economic interests, from computer chips and aerospace to soybean farming. Failure to get this right sets up a trade war escalation with America's most potent adversary right now, although it's understood Trump's threat of additional 100% tariffs is off the table for now.
The Border Patrol commander in charge of President Trump's immigration crackdown in Chicago is being reined in by a federal judge. That judge gave Greg Bovino an earful Tuesday about the tactics he and his agents are using and ordered him to start providing her with briefings every day. We get more from CBS's Nicole Skanga.
A federal judge ordered him to appear after he was seen allegedly throwing a canister of tear gas into a crowd during a protest last week. In court, Judge Sarah Ellis ordered Bovino to wear a body camera and provide her daily updates on the operations in Chicago.
The Department of Homeland Security is now weighing a major overhaul of ICE, restructuring its ranks to push more Border Patrol agents into cities nationwide, a move sources say could make federal agents even more assertive in places like Chicago.
CBS has learned the Trump administration is looking to reassign senior leaders at Immigration and Customs Enforcement amid frustration over the current arrest and deportation numbers. Here's CBS News immigration and politics reporter Camila Montoya Galvez.
Some officials at ICE tell me that they have grown increasingly concerned about the backlash that these Border Patrol operations are triggering across the country, saying the focus should be on targeted arrests to detain people in the country illegally who also have criminal records. But clearly, some in the administration like the aggressive style of Border Patrol operations and believe they are necessary to increase deportation levels.
The Trump administration has fired all 6 members of the federal agency that was expected to review some of President Trump's construction projects. We get more from CBS's Michael Wallace.
Congress created the Commission of Fine Arts more than a century ago to offer design advice on projects in the capital region. The Washington Post obtained the White House email informing the commissioners their jobs have been terminated. President Trump wants to install allies on the commission as he plans the $300 million ballroom at the White House and the triumphal arch he wants to build across the Potomac River from the Lincoln Memorial.
English drugstores can now dispense emergency contraception to women for free.
British police have launched a nationwide investigation into alleged sexual assaults of female recruits carried out during medical checks conducted between the 1970s and 2016.
I'm aghast and yet not surprised.
Former Army officer Gemma Morgan says the women would have been reluctant to report the assaults at the time.
Your Army medical is often the first experience that you have where either the gates will be opened or shut as to whether you're allowed in or not.
The Ministry of Defense says it's cooperating fully with the investigation. Vicki Barker, CBS News, London.
It is 7:27, and that time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
The ACA Market Plan has just announced significant increases on their monthly premiums for 2026, with deductibles over $10,000. You can enroll with Greg Hammond's Freedom of Choice plans now. You don't have to wait. One of their plans lets you use any doctor, has 0 outpatient deductibles, and it's 30 to 60% lower than most Obamacare plans. Other options are full coverage PPOs with national networks, copays, and 100% annual preventative care. Also, there's no income disclosure required, so no potential tax penalties. If you pay for your own health insurance, you're uninsured, you're on COBRA, or your employer coverage is just too expensive, call Greg, and they'll provide all available options. Call 314-794-7784. That's 314-794-7784. Or go to greghammonds.com. That's greghammonds.com. He can custom design a plan managed and chosen by you, not the government.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want a boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Put it all together and you've got what you need to turn things all the way up. Getting started is simple. Just go to hims.com/joy to start your free online visit. Through Hims, you can access ED treatments including pills, chews, and more. 100% online. No office visits, no pharmacy lines. Just fill out a simple intake form and a licensed medical provider will determine if treatment's right for you. If prescribed, it ships free and discreetly to your door. Find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy, hims.com/joy.
The legendary Fast Eddie of Fast Eddie's Bon Air and Redbirds Hall of Famer, Jason Isringhausen.
Hey, Izzy, what's going on, man? Looks kind of like you got something on your mind.
Well, Eddie boy, I'm thinking you may need to change the name of your place from Fast Eddie's to $5 Eddie's.
$5 Eddie's? Man, why in the world would I call it $5 Eddie's?
Well, I was in there the other day and bought myself the coldest beer I've ever had in my life, and I gave the guy $5. And then I went over and got some of those huge cold water peel and eat shrimps, and I gave her $5.
Well, I never really thought about that. There's a lot of $5 going on in there.
And then I went back up and got one of those huge Fast Eddie cheeseburgers, and I gave them $5 again.
Man, definitely has a ring to it. I think there's a lot of $5 going on.
Yeah, and I had about $100 worth of good time.
Well, that's good to hear, and it's easy to do with live music 7 days a week and a big old party going on that big, beautiful outdoor patio.
Well, like Mr. Shannon always says, if you're 21 and in the mood, head on over to Fast Eddie's Bon Air in Alton, Illinois, and maybe take a selfie on that old Harley Davidson of mine.
Who else has got a Cardinal Hall of Famer's Harley Davidson sitting out on the patio for some selfies?
Only Eddie boy.
It is 7:30, and right now in downtown St. Louis, it's still rainy, 53 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. Traffic with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, they're slow going almost everywhere right now, folks. Eastbound 70, Wensville Parkway, all the way into at least TR Hughes 79 from 94 all the way in through to the airport pretty much is off the pace. 364 Bryan Road to Mid Rivers. Arena Parkway headed into 141 and then east of the Creve-Coeur Lake Bridge like Amiot overpass to 270. That's all slow. If you're on southbound 61 south of Highway P onto 64 to the Boulevard, a little slow at Winghaven, K to Research Park, Annie Guns up to about Timberlake, Lindbergh and through the Interbelt. The Interbelt bogs down at Delmar. Westbound 64 backs up Kings Highway to Hanley. South 270 approaching 364 to 64 slow. North 270 backed up as you ramp on 55, then heavy most of the way up through Ladue. 44 east of Antire, westbound east of Antire, left lane's closed for a crash. It's a little slow each way there. And then east of 141 into 270. Northbound 55 slow into 67. The right lane's Mattis to 270 from Green Park all the way up through Virginia is heavy. Westbound 64 delays now from 111 to 5570 at 203 headed for the Poplar. Next update is 740 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We are going to see this rain and drizzle with us through probably midday. It'll start to taper off this afternoon. We'll have a high of 56 degrees today. Things should start clearing out overnight, and then the sun returns for tomorrow and Friday. So Thursday, sunny and 55. Friday, mostly sunny and 60. That, of course, is Halloween. So no raincoats over those costumes for trick-or-treating. It's 53 right now.
It's 7:32. Roughly 42 million Americans rely on food stamps that arrive every month on their electronic benefit transfer cards. On November 1st, that aid is set to abruptly stop amid the ongoing U.S. government shutdown, potentially leaving households scrambling to figure out how to put food on the table.
With Missouri's SNAP benefits on hold in November because of the shutdown, local grocers are teaming up with food banks to meet rising demand. I'm Michael Calhoun with Dan Shaw, Executive Director of the Missouri Grocers Association, who says their top concern is making sure people have enough food to get by.
We work with food banks and resources like that on a regular basis, have regular pickups of fruit and produce that may be getting to where it needs to be consumed sooner than later, and certainly with bakery products as well.
Shaw encourages SNAP recipients to check with their local food banks to make sure they've got all the food they need in the weeks ahead. If any benefits are left over from October, those can still be spent in November.
At least half of the states in the U.S. are suing the Trump administration over plans to cut off SNAP benefits later this week as the government shutdown drags on. Here's CBS's Jesse Mitchell.
25 states are suing the Trump administration over the threatened suspension of SNAP food assistance, slated to start on November 1st amid the federal government shutdown. The government said food aid would not go out after the Department of Agriculture declined to tap into billions in contingency funds, which the agency says are only meant to cover disaster situations, not regular benefits. The states allege a SNAP cutoff would be illegal and, quote, will cause deterioration of public health and well-being.
Hurricane Melissa is grinding across eastern Cuba as a Category 3 storm after pummeling Jamaica as one of the strongest Atlantic hurricanes on record. Here in St. Louis this winter, city officials are planning to spend $9 million more than 1,000 temporary shelters for those displaced by the May tornado. According to the Post-Dispatch, a proposal outlines plans for one shelter up to 1,000 beds and others for 500 each, aiming to open by December 1st. With more than 5,000 structures damaged and many lacking insurance, officials tell the paper that much more housing aid may be necessary.
It's 7:34, and your money report from Bloomberg is coming up next.
The news sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install a Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/deal for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty details.
It's 7:35. Your money report sponsored by Busey Bank.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. All eyes will be on tech companies today as Alphabet, Meta Platforms, and Microsoft will be reporting quarterly results after markets close. Investors will be watching to see if the billions of dollars being poured into artificial intelligence is paying off. The Federal Reserve is wrapping up its October meetings today with the expectation that interest rates will be cut by a quarter point. Fed Chair Jerome Powell will hold a press conference with traders listening for any hints as to whether the Fed will continue to cut rates into July. Just one day after Apple became the third company ever to have a market valuation of $4 trillion or more, chipmaker NVIDIA is on track to become the first $5 trillion company. Shares rose as much as 3.5% in pre-market trading after President Trump said he expects to speak with Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping about NVIDIA's flagship Blackwell AI chip. Overall, the company's stock has risen 50% this year, creating around $1.6 trillion in value. In 2022, NVIDIA's valuation was less than $360 billion. Dan Schwartzman, Bloomberg Radio.
This is the run my own business dream. This is the college is paid for dream. This is the retire early dream. This is Busey, where your dreams and possibilities become moments. Through trusted guidance and expertise, through lifelong relationships. Because we're here to help you achieve the life you've always envisioned. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. Member FDIC.
Hi, Stacy with Fairwinds River's Edge Senior Living in St. Charles. Are you a senior seeking a fun retirement? Do you want less work and more play? Do you want to enjoy great food that you don't have to cook? Then I know. Stop what you're doing right now and call Fairwinds. Set up a time to visit and have a meal. Meet some of our awesome residents. Check us out online at fairwindsriversedge.com. We hope to talk with you soon.
It's easy to feel apprehensive about getting screened for cancer or to just keep putting it off. But Siteman Cancer Center wants to remind you how important it is, especially after the age of 40. And they also want you to know how easy it is to get it done. GetScreenedNow.com has all the information you need on cancers like prostate, breast, colon, lung cancer. You can also find out your risk of disease by answering just a few simple questions. And then you can find one of the hundreds of screening locations in the area. Even if you're a little farther out, there is probably a place near you. You have heard this before, but catching cancer early dramatically increases the odds of a successful treatment, especially with so many cancers showing up earlier in life. So do not be intimidated. Siteman will make the process as simple as possible. GetScreenedNow.com. Do it for your family and friends who count on you. Do it for yourself. Visit GetScreenedNow.com.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And that's what you get with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. With more than 45 years' experience serving its members, United Healthcare has plans with low monthly premiums that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today. United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage Missouri can count on.
Celebrate the spooky season with Zero Res and get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $129. Take 15% off your air duct and dryer vent cleaning. Book online at ZeroResSTL.com and take advantage of the huge savings.
Hey, Dave, this is Susan L. Ward, and my law firm and I want to wish you congratulations on your 25 years with the show. I am really, really glad that you left family law practice to me, and here's to 25 more for you on radio.
Fridays mean football. From the zoo to the NFL, we've got your weekend covered.
All 3, ready?
It's Friday football on KMOX.
It is 7:40. It is rainy and windy out there this morning. We're going to check in with our meteorologist, Joe Lundberg, here in just a moment. First, the assessment of the roadways from Roger Brand and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, mostly just slow and no serious problems out there right now, Debbie, but it is busy on most of these highways. This traffic reports a service to the Sandberg Phoenix Law Firm. Northbound 55, the right lane's bogged down south of Butler Hill up to 270. There's a slowdown through the work zone at Green Park. It's backed up Union Road overpass up to River to Paris, still slow to Virginia. North 270 from 55, slow up to 44. It's backed up 44 through Big Bend, but remains busy all the way almost to Olive. South 270 from close to Dorset down to 64 is slow. Eastbound Highway 70. Busy from roughly 64 Highway Z area all the way into TR Hughes, 94 all the way into the airport, 364 Bryan Road to Mid Rivers, approaching 94 Mugie to 141, and then Amiot to 270. That's all busy. Southbound 61, midway between P and Wentzville Parkway on to 64 at the Boulevard. It's slow east of K to the Boone Bridge. Boone's Crossing to almost Timberlake, and from 270 past the Interbelt. The Interbelt bogs down now at Page. Westbound 64 from Boyle out to Hanley's heavy. Eastbound 44, 141 to 270, and around Elm, westbound and eastbound 44 around Antire heavy. 44 both ways downtown between the bridges, and 64 west 111, 5570 delays at 203. Next update is 750 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
At Sandberg Phoenix, we're more than just a law firm. Our attorneys are committed to you, your business, and your community. We are ready to serve you in the areas of business litigation, intellectual property, health law, and products liability. SandbergPhoenix.com. The choice of lawyers, an important decision, and should not be based solely on advertising.
AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. Eventually, the faucet is going to turn off, correct?
It will, Tom. In fact, I think we've got another 2 or 3 hours of steady rain across the area. Then it will gradually start to sink to the south of the city. There'll still be a bit of rain and drizzle as we go through the midday and afternoon hours before it all finally comes to an end from northwest to southeast across the area during the late afternoon and evening hours. Cloudy throughout, temperatures hardly budge, about 55, 56, and that's going to do it for our high today. But then look for gradual clearing as the storm moves away overnight. By morning, we're down in the low 40s. Finally, a return to sunshine. Our high temperature is just 55. More sunshine Friday. We bump up towards 60. Cloudier and cooler for Saturday. Could see a shower at night, the high 55, but then clouds break for some sunshine Sunday. High of 56. It does trend milder early next week. 53 at St. Peter's, 54 in Florissant. Raining and 55 still downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It is 7:42. California Governor Gavin Newsom says a California state law allowing trans girls in sports should change. He's doubling down on the comments he made earlier this year when Charlie Kirk was a guest on his podcast.
It's like you right now should come out and be like, you know what?
the young man who's about to win the state championship in the long jump in female sports.
Right.
That shouldn't happen. You as the governor should step out say no.
No, and I appreciate.
But like, would you do something like that? Would you say no men in female sports?
Well, I think it's an issue of fairness. I completely agree with you on that. It is an issue of fairness.
So
it's deeply unfair.
Would you speak?
In an interview on San Francisco Public Radio, KQED, Newsom was asked to clarify that.
So what exactly, when you said it was deeply unfair for them to participate?
Because I believe that.
What do you mean?
What is like unfair? How and when and where?
Well, we've had the experience in California on multiple occasions.
So high school?
Yes, these track meets, and I've had to deal with it. Others haven't. Going back years, and I've struggled with this. I brought in experts, tried to understand how do we make this more fair. We had a track meet where both the trans athlete and the other athlete that lost both dropped out of the finals because we couldn't figure out a way to accommodate everybody's concerns. And there was so much vitriol and so much anger around it.
Newsom went on to defend his record on trans issues.
Because there's not one person you've ever had on air that has a better record on trans rights than this person you're talking to. Period, full stop. I have signed more bills protecting trans folks than anyone you've ever had on this air.
But when it comes to sports, Governor Newsom says
that's impacting other people's rights. It's different. And I say this with a trans godson. I have only one godson who's trans. And so with love and grace in my heart, and in that exact exchange with Charlie, I said, these people just want to survive.
KQED hosts went on to ask Newsom if the law should change.
Which explicitly allows transgender
I think
students
it goes
in K
back.
to 12.
I think we have to figure this out. It's a difficult. This is not the issue. And what I hate about the other side, they're coloring this in as it's a major issue, and
But it is the
weaponize
issue to
this
trans
issue.
kids who, you know how important sports are.
Yeah.
I understand what
think
you're saying.
Competing in sports, I think, is essential. It's life. It's the lifeblood for so many people, including me. It's one of the reasons I'm here, quite literally. The reason I got into college. So I apply that. But with these competitive events, where it's a zero-sum
So you think there's a
game.
difference between competitive and like recreational?
Yes. And that's where there needs to be nuance and some grace here, but there's not. It's either you're throwing on the bus, it's binary. And I hate that and forgive that, Frank, but it's really true. It's black or white. And I just think there's some nuance here. And so I said what I thought. Yeah. And you know what? I can't tell you how many people have a similar point of view.
Yeah.
But don't say it publicly.
Yeah.
Newsom went on to call it shameful that others won't admit they agree with him. He didn't elaborate on how he thinks that California law should change.
In California last night, the Toronto Blue Jays made their presence felt. Here's how it sounded on the Dodgers radio network. 1-0 lead for LA. Shohei Ohtani on the mound. Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
Guerrero now locked up with the Blue Jays for 15 years. This is hammered to left field. Kike Hernandez at the wall. This ball's going to go. Guerrero Jr. takes Ohtani deep for a go-ahead 2-run homer. 2-1 Toronto in the third inning.
That's what they do. And then Shane Bieber locked it down 5 1/3, gave up just 1 run. He was really good in the Blue Jays bullpen. How about Chris Bassett, 2 scoreless innings for Toronto? They win it 6-2 over LA, and they even the series at 2 games apiece. That means the World Series is going back to Toronto. Whether it's 3-2 Toronto or 3-2 LA, we'll find out tonight. The Fox crew, this is a good group here. Kevin Burkhardt, Alex Rodriguez, David Ortiz, Derek Jeter surrounding Vlad.
Yesterday was a tough lose, but we flushed it right away. And to us, it's one game at a time, one pitch at a time. And thank God we come in with a W today.
Vlad, now you guys have been the best team in baseball coming back. Every time people think that you're finished, you always fight back. Where does that mentality come from? And how much confidence did you guys have coming to the park this morning?
I mean, it's a 27 now, 27 now. We grinder. We always positive. The first thing I say yesterday is like, I flush it, try to rest, and tomorrow we're trying to come to the first inning and trying to win the game, and I learned that from a lot of you guys. And when you got that and you mind, it's not over yet. Something like today happens.
He is one of the superstars of the game, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., a big home run, 2-run shot off Ohtani, and a 6-2 win and a 2-2 World Series. Now to hockey, the Blues are struggling. They have lost 5 in a row, 5-2 loss at home to Detroit last night. Coach Jim Montgomery asked about the team's defensive struggles and if he's surprised.
It's shocking, to be honest. The amount of grade A chances that we've given up has been, and it sometimes it's our tracking, sometimes our D zone coverage, sometimes it's our puck management. Something ugly is rearing its head every game, and we just got to get back to the drawing board and work together, and be excited about the challenge and opportunity of how long a season is. You're going to go 3-6-1. Almost every team in the NHL this year will go 3-6-1.
That's what the Blues record is now through 10 games. They host the Canucks tomorrow night. I'm Tom Ackerman on the voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
I love a day on the water with friends, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis sometimes holds me back. Now I'm all in with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi. Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy.
Teaching music is my passion, but my active psoriatic arthritis can limit me at times. Now I'm treating my joint symptoms with Skyrizi.
With Skyrizi, most people with plaque psoriasis saw 90% clearer skin at 4 months.
Or if you are an adult with active psoriatic arthritis, Skyrizi helps you move with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
There's nothing like clearer skin.
There's nothing like better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi. Visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZI to learn more.
Attention business owners with a net income over $500,000. You need to work with a tax strategist that understands your entrepreneurial mindset. Download the most recent white paper written by E3 Consultants Group titled The Power of a Professional Tax Strategy Team. Go to e3wealth.com/radio to obtain a copy. It's time to learn about wealth and tax strategies that protect your personal and business economy. E3 is ready to help you think differently about your finances. Educate, empower, enlighten. That's the E3 difference.
In St. Louis, the weather can change in an instant. One day, you're under a thunderstorm warning. The next, it's an ice storm. Stay prepared for whatever Mother Nature throws your way. When weather threatens, the KMOX Storm Center has expert forecasts and live reports. Here to keep you safe and informed. Don't get caught off guard. Know your weather. The KMOX Storm Center. Sponsored by
Saliga Heating and Cooling.
Now the news at 1 the fun. It's the Dave Glover Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 7:51, and here is Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we got slow going on westbound 270, Debbie, from the Canal Bridge to across the Riverview on the Missouri side, and then again from Lindbergh around the Horn past 370. It's kind of slow. Eastbound Highway 70 from A all the way almost to 79, 94 into the airport's busy. 364 Bryan Road most of the way to Mid-Rivers. From Heritage Crossing most of the way into 141. That's slow. Southbound 61 still backed up north of Wensville Parkway into 64. It's slow through Winghaven. 94 though through Research Park. Boone's Crossing up to about Timberlake, and then 270 all the way through the Interbelt. The Interbelt's bogged down at Page. Westbound 64 Kings Highway to Hanley slow. Southbound 270 Dorset down to 64 is busy. North 270 north of 55 to 44 is crowded, but jam 44 to Doherty Ferry slow all the way to Ladue. Even after that, eastbound 44 west of 141 to 270, east of Lindbergh into Laclede Station. There are pockets. Westbound 44 still working that crash east of Antire. Only the right lane is open. A short jam up going up the hill there. Northbound 55, the right lane's bogged down south of Butler Hill. Heavy stuff from Union up to Virginia. Downtown 44 from Lafayette past the bridges. In fact, both ways downtown between the bridges is backed up onto westbound 70, which is slow out past Grand. 64 still delays 111 to the Poplar. Next update at 7:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It's just wet and sloppy out there, but AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg says this rain is going to go away, and it's going to go away for a while. Breezy and chilly with rain and drizzle through midday today, then tapering off this afternoon, high 56. Then we're clear tonight, low 41. Tomorrow, sunshine, high 55. Friday for Halloween, sunny and a dry evening for trick-or-treating, high 60. The weekend, cloudy, but then the sun comes back out on Sunday, highs each day, 56 degrees. Currently, it's rainy and 53 downtown.
The news continues at 7:53. The Ferguson Police Department announcing indictments against 3 people today in connection with the murder of Corey Warren, who was fatally shot in July after allegedly refusing a $12,000 bribe to drop sexual assault charges against Lavore Harmon. Investigators claim Harmon's sister and another man attempted the witness tampering, which escalated to Warren's murder. More details will be shared at an 11 o'clock news conference.
A man from Honduras pleaded guilty to killing a St. Louis police officer while driving drunk and high on multiple drugs. Ramon Chavez Rodriguez, who is in the country without legal documentation, admitted in court yesterday to losing control of his speeding car on a rainy night last fall, striking and killing Officer David Lee on I-70. Lee was an 18-year veteran of the force. Chief Robert Tracy says Officer Lee will forever remain a hero in our hearts. Chavez Rodriguez now faces 5 to 15 years in prison.
Masked burglars made off with several firearms from a St. Charles County gun store. That break-in happened at Crown Guns about 3:20 a.m. Tuesday morning. While the robbery was caught on camera, police say those masks are a major hurdle.
We don't know which direction it's going to go, but due to the fact that there were several of them that were taken, like I said, we're paying a lot of attention to it.
Corporal Barry Bales says the department is paying a lot of attention to the case given the number of guns taken and the potential danger they now pose to the public.
With the demand for electricity rapidly rising, Missouri is updating its energy plan for the first time in a decade. In a conversation with Missouri Net, Department of Natural Resources Director Kurt Schaefer says the environment will be a factor in their new plan.
All those environmental factors and costs into the future of energy in the state of Missouri, which I think really hasn't been done in the past, in that past plan that was done 10 years ago.
Schaefer says they need to also project what the energy needs will be in the years moving forward, with Missouri currently producing very little excess energy.
The Cortex Innovation District has become the home of major scientific developments in St. Louis City. Pablo Sabron, the founder and CEO of Impossible Sensing, says they're developing space sciences at Cortex like
and how they need to be addressed, right, for both soil health and the plant health itself.
Sabron says they are also working with engineering teams to develop the robots to do this work in space.
A lot of traffic out there. We're going to give Roger Brand plenty.
Times in your life when you need an expert. That applies to selling your home. If you're selling your home, you need the right agent, the agent who will sell your home quickly and for the most money, and who will take the worry and all of that time and trouble and effort off of your shoulders. That is Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, aptly named because she will say and put in writing that she'll sell your home at the price and time frame you both agree upon, or she'll buy it herself. In fact, Gloria will even agree and guarantee to sell your home for 100% of market value, or she'll pay you the difference. So go ahead and make phone calls and ask other agents if they can guarantee those things. Chances are they can't. 314-325-6888 is the number to call. 314-325-6888. Gloria and her team sell not just a few or a few dozen homes a year, but hundreds of homes, and they will sell yours. Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. It's Gloria Liu. Find her online at gloriahasthebuyers.com.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Looking for your dream home in Wentzville? Welcome to Sutton Farms by Lombardo Homes, where community and comfort come together. Enjoy resort-style living with a private clubhouse, indoor courts, a splash pad, sand volleyball, walking trails, and even a dog park. Choose from our newest Parkside series, or design your own custom home in our nature or traditional series, all within the top-rated Wentzville School District. Discover the perfect blend of small-town charm and modern convenience at Sutton Farms, located off Piney Road in Wentzville. Visit lombardohomes.com to learn more.
Wow, there's a lot of traffic out there. Roger Brand, take all the time you need. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Tom, it looks like they're doing better on 44 approaching Antire. Looks like they cleared that crash. The lanes are open. Traffic's moving better there. Eastbound was westbound, by the way. Eastbound 44, though, still bogged down 141 to 270. After that, it's not as bad. There's some slow traffic. The bulk of it is east of River to Pear into about Kings Highway. Northbound 270, that's still backed up in pockets from 55 running all the way up through Doherty Ferry, but it remains slow all the way up to Ladue. South 270 from 364 most of the way to 64 is heavy. If you're on eastbound Highway 70, a backup through Highway A, then Lake St. Louis all the way to 79, east of 94 all the way into the airport. There's even a backup again, Bermuda into about Jennings Station. Eastbound 370 is backed up east of the Mills, and that's running into 270. Westbound 270, still a little slow through the Canal Bridge, and then there's delays coming around the bend toward 370 after that. Eastbound 364 approaching K to Mid Rivers, east of Youngerman into 141 is pretty busy. Southbound 61 north of Wentzville Parkway onto 64 through Winghaven, 94 to the Boone Bridge, coming out of the Chesterfield Parkway area and from 270 in through the Interbelt. Westbound 64 delays, Kings Highway to 170, South 170 bogs down at Page. Next update at 8:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. Drenching rain in Cuba, where Hurricane Melissa, one of the strongest in the Atlantic on record, made landfall early this morning. President Miguel Diaz-Canel says the Category 3 storm has caused extensive damage. Forecasters expect it could generate storm surge of up to a foot a day after leaving Jamaica in tatters. Andrea Lee manages a bed and breakfast in Lucy along the island's northwest coast.
The devastation, it's terrible. The roads are blocked, is what I'm hearing. So I think a lot of us are not venturing out too far yet until we can get some information on the conditions of the roads.
Correspondent Jason Allen has more from Old Harbor.
With power on in Kingston, that probably means that the airport will get open sooner rather than later. That'll be very, very important to getting that much needed aid here into the country.
Israel says a ceasefire is back in effect in Gaza after overnight strikes that Hamas says killed at least 104, including children. Israel accuses Hamas in the death of an IDF soldier. The BBC's Sebastian Usher from Jerusalem.
The Israeli government has been warning that it will hit back hard at what it sees as any violation of the ceasefire by Hamas, which for its part has accused the IDF of multiple breaches. The US has repeatedly played down concerns, but all-out hostilities could resume.
The Federal Reserve is expected to announce a 1/4 point interest rate cut today. CBS's Kelly O'Grady.
A small cut, it could nudge down borrowing costs on things like credit cards, auto loans, adjustable rate mortgages. It won't offer major relief for most, though. So we're going to be listening for hints on whether more cuts are coming.
Researchers in the UK are testing a revolutionary test that could sniff out cancer. CBS's Vicky Barker has details from London.
Some 80% of people diagnosed with pancreatic cancer here aren't offered any treatment because it's usually incurable by the time it's diagnosed. But now, researcher George Hanna is leading clinical trials that will see patients with the vague symptoms that can indicate the presence of pancreatic cancer blowing into a test tube in their local doctor's office.
Through detecting the molecules in the breath, they will be able to see whether the probability of the patient have cancer or not.
If the trial is successful, the breath test could identify pancreatic cancer in its earliest stage.
The world's list of billionaires is growing. Correspondent Michael Wallace has some numbers.
I want to be a billionaire.
The wealth intelligence firm Eltrata says there were just over 3,500 billionaires last year. About a third of them, 1,135, were in the U.S. The Americans' fortunes accounted for 43% of the world's wealth.
Dow futures are up 83. This is CBS News.
The annual Progressive Keys to Progress program provides vehicles to deserving veterans, helping our heroes drive their lives forward. Learn more at keystoprogress.com.
At 8:03, we have rain, 55 degrees downtown at the Arch. Today is Wednesday, October 29th. I'm Megan Lynch. It could be a bad month for your local grocery store.
With the federal government shutdown still underway, Missouri's Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, benefits for November have been halted, and that could ripple through the food supply chain. Dan Schall, executive director of the Missouri Grocers Association, tells MissouriNet they believe it will impact both the supply chain and the price on the shelf.
Will prices be affected? I think for short term, we'll have more stock on hand because people won't be purchasing food. We're guardedly optimistic, I guess, to say that we think the supply chain will weather this well.
Schall encourages SNAP recipients to check with local food banks and community resources to help make sure they've got the food they need in the weeks ahead. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
St. Charles County Councilman David Hammond took to social media to call those losing SNAP benefits lazy people who get free food. When contacted by Channel 4, Hammond declined to comment, saying he didn't want to talk about it anymore. In St. Charles County, about 3% of households receive SNAP benefits. It's closer to 8% in St. Louis County. In some southern Missouri counties, it's over 20%. Nationwide, 1 in 8 people receive those benefits. According to the Missouri Budget Project, most SNAP recipients worked most of the year at least 30 hours a week. Their jobs simply don't pay enough. St. Charles County Executive Steve Ellman has made his decision.
After announcing 3 years ago he will not seek a 6th term, St. Charles County Executive Steve Ellman has changed his mind, announcing on the Chris and Amy show he will run for re-election. So what caused him to reverse his decision? He says the changing political landscape has him optimistic for the future of St. Charles County and wants to be a part of it.
I can't do that from my front porch, from my rocking chair, so I'm gonna have one last adventure before I take to the rocking chair.
Ellman says he discussed his decision with politicians on both sides of the aisle, along with business and labor leaders, before changing his mind. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
3 candidates have already been running to replace Ellman. Mike Elam has publicly said he will not oppose Ellman. Jason Law remains in the race. The Ferguson Police Department announcing indictments against 3 people today in connection with the murder of Corey Warren. Warren was fatally shot in July after allegedly refusing a $12,000 bribe to drop sexual assault charges against LaVor Harmon. Investigators claim Harmon's sister and another man attempted the witness tampering, which escalated to Warren's murder. More details will be shared at an 11 o'clock news conference. State agencies in Missouri are using artificial intelligence for a number of tasks, the most common being customer service. The Missouri Department of Revenue features a chatbot on its website named Dora, which stands for Department of Revenue Answers. Spokesman Jadon Cheney tells MissouriNet what most people ask Dora about.
Motor vehicle, that's our top request. People asking about driver's license, that sort of a thing. That's our top request. Then also the next would be tax issues that they're dealing with. And these are general questions.
Cheney says Dora won't provide detailed information on a person's income tax returns. That information is blocked by security protocols. Instead, anyone making that type of request would be redirected to a web page where you'd have to fill out a security form. It's a rare show of bipartisanship. Missouri Republican Senator Josh Hawley and several key Democrats teaming up on a bill to protect kids from artificial intelligence. Their legislation, called the GUARD Act, would make it illegal for companies to provide AI companions to minors. Hawley was asked what kind of action he wants tech companies to take.
They've come and testified. They do it all the time. We are actually very safe. OpenAI just made an announcement that they have perfected their safety guardrails, that they said, we've gone through the testing and our safety guardrails are excellent. Really? Those so-called safety guardrails that they have been testing resulted in the death of one child whose parents are here today. They've resulted in sexual conversations and sexual grooming of millions of children. So I would just say to those companies, endorse this bill. Put your money where your mouth is, endorse the bill, and push this legislation over the finish line. That's how we'll know they're serious.
The bill would create new criminal penalties for companies if their AI shows sexual content to minors, a move Hawley says is necessary to stop chatbots from encouraging self-harm among young users. And of course, you just heard more about this week here on Total Information AM. You can go back to our coverage. It's on the homepage of KMOX.com. From the business desk, sponsored by Krentz Financial Group, KFGadvisors.com, a new STEM building in the works at Harris Stowe State University. It'll be 82,000 square feet with 12 research labs, offices, study spaces, and a large event space with rooftop terrace. It's expected to open along Laclede Avenue in the summer of 2027. It's 8:08. We'll check that forecast, plus check the roads as well in 2 minutes.
It's the Medicare Advantage annual enrollment period, and Humana knows not everyone has the same needs when picking a Medicare Advantage plan.
Now that I'm retired, I want to enjoy the life I've worked hard to build. So I want a plan that covers me when I'm traveling the country.
Humana has a plan for that.
As a veteran, I want a plan that fills in the gaps my VA coverage doesn't provide, like dental care.
Humana has a plan for that.
I feel good about my health. I just want care and coverage with predictable costs. No surprises.
Humana has a plan for that. With a Humana Medicare Advantage plan, you get coverage and benefits that focus on what matters most to you. Learn more at gethumana.com. Humana, a more human way to healthcare. Humana is a Medicare Advantage HMO and PPO organization with a Medicare contract. Enrollment in any Humana plan depends on contract renewal.
Let Banner Construction show you what a difference James Hardy can make to your home. Banner's exterior design team will show you custom design options to transform your home into the neighborhood showplace. Banner is a preferred James Hardy and Pella window specialist. With winter just around the corner, now is the time to think about Pella windows for energy efficiency and comfort. Call Banner Construction 314-569-1050 to schedule your free in-home consultation, or the website bannerconstruction.com, and have a banner day.
This November, the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra presents Benjamin Britten's War Requiem, a powerful, haunting piece that reflects on war and peace across generations. Led by music director Stéphane Deneuve, the SLSO and St. Louis Symphony Chorus are joined by world-renowned vocalists and the St. Louis Children's Choirs. November 7th and 9th. Tickets at slso.org.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It's 8:10. The rain certainly hasn't made it easy on the roads this morning. Let's get an update from Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, still lots of slow going, Megan. On eastbound Highway 7, you'll find it that way. Lake St. Louis into T.R. Hughes, 94 all the way into the airport. It jams from Cool Valley or east of Hanley all the way up to Jennings Station. That's where we had a crash. Wasn't the left lane. They cleared it off at the exit. It looks like it's on the shoulder at that point. Westbound 70, a little backed up coming out of the city into that Jennings Station area looking at it. 364 is still slow through Gudermuth, east of the Kisker area, headed in toward 141 is still kind of slow. If you're on southbound 270, south of 364 to 64 is still busy. Southbound 61 Wentzville Parkway into 64 through Winghaven heavy. East of Boone's Crossing to about Timberlake 270 through the Interbelt. The Interbelt bogs down from about the Woodson overpass to 64. Westbound 64 Science Center out to Hanley. You've got delays. North 270 backed up north of Tesson Ferry to about Big Bend, but then it's slow all the way to Ladue after that. 44, let's call it like Berry Road to Kings Highway is just kind of slow right now. Northbound 55 Bayless up to Virginia heavy. 44 from 55 through the bridges out on the westbound 70 to about Grand is slow, and 55-70 at 203, 64 at 25th Street. Stop and go pockets across the Poplar. Next update at 8:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
KMOX AccuWeather, breezy and chilly today. Rain and drizzle through midday, then a little drizzle left over this afternoon, or high 56. Mostly cloudy early tonight, followed by clearing late tonight, though 41. Tomorrow will turn out mostly sunny, but brisk and quite cool, high 55. Friday, mostly sunny to high 60. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
And currently we're looking at rain, 53 degrees both in Florissant and St. Peter's, 55 degrees downtown at the Arch. This is Total Information AM on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. Last month, an infant was surrendered at a Safe Haven baby box in O'Fallon, Missouri. The special incubators where new parents in crisis can surrender a newborn, no questions asked, have become an important safety net. Yet one agency is hoping to reach those parents before they feel that desperate. Lutheran Family and Children's Services provides free support and counseling. I found out more from Amy Newell, Adoption Program Manager, about how they assist women in crisis, whether they choose to parent or create an adoption plan.
If they choose to move forward with adoption, they can continue to be involved in their child's life and see their child grow up. They can receive updates, possible visits with the adoptive family and their child through the child's lifetime. That's very different from the Safe Haven Baby Box and going through Children's Division, where that's completely anonymous, and so that birth parent will never have connection with their child. The other thing that is really important for adoptees as they grow up is to know where they've come from. And so being able to have that connection to birth family is extremely important. So where do I get my blue eyes? Where do I get my brown hair? Who do I look like? Even just those basic things are really important for children as they grow up being an adoptee. And again, those babies with that Safe Haven Baby Box, while it's a wonderful, safe option for parents in crisis, those children lose every connection they have to their birth family since it's completely anonymous.
How many babies would you say that you serve in this way every year?
Prior to the pandemic, we were serving quite a few, over 20 a year. We were placing. Since the pandemic, things have slowed down, and we're not quite sure why that is, but I would say close to 20, under 20 per year are we able to help service, whether that's through our agency or helping just a pregnant woman who is making an adoption plan, maybe with someone from outside of our agency, or parenting. Those numbers are quite higher for our parenting program. And I'm sorry, I'm not quite sure what those are, but women who come to us for our parenting program, so just needing extra support and help and case management services to parent their child, we provide that as well.
When you're counseling a woman in this, what are the factors in those decisions that those women are making?
Lots of factors. What type of support do they have? Who is surrounding them to support them? So do they have family? Do they have friends? Is the father of the baby involved? Those type of things. And then also, of course, their financial position. Do they have the resources they need to care for a new infant? Are they working? Do they have housing? Those types of things. And so those are things that, whether parenting or making an adoption plan, we can help them look at both of those options and see kind of where do they fall, especially if they're struggling with that decision. All of our mothers, they love their children and they want the best for their child. So we try to look at both of those options with them, if that's what they'd like to do, for them to make that best decision for them and their child.
Boy, I bet that's really hard sometimes to just sit back and watch them have to go through that and make that decision.
Yes. We definitely want to make sure that they have the education, that they understand what adoption can look like for them. There's so many stereotypes about adoption and what that looks like. So we try to make sure they understand what current adoption looks like, as well as then what their parenting options are and where can they tap into different resources so that they can make that decision. We do not persuade or pressure any direction whatsoever.
You mentioned the ability to have that contact, or at least for that child one day to have some information.
Yes.
How do you navigate that with families who want to adopt and that mother that's looking to place her child?
So we call that open adoption. And that can look a lot of different ways, from the adoptive family just providing updates. So like a written letter with some pictures a couple times a year, maybe only once a year, to those families getting together and having visits maybe once or twice a year. We navigate that by, again, education on both parties, educating an expectant mom or a birth mom on what those options are and what would she like, as well as then educating adoptive families on what those options are, what they would be comfortable with, and then trying to match them so that they come together and have a good plan for the future. And then at LFCS, we will help navigate that for both parties as well. So we're not just kind of throwing them out there after an adoption is finalized and saying, good luck, you're on your own. We will continue to assist them and navigate that relationship through the years.
I was wondering, for those birth moms What kind of support do they have? I just can't not even imagine what that's like.
Right. So they definitely have our case management support through that adoption finalization. So anywhere between 6 to 8, 9 months after they've delivered the baby, but then they can have ongoing support as well as they need it. We also have birth parent meetups. So we have groups like support groups for birth moms that meet, I believe, quarterly. And we're also working with another agency on that. So we're partnering with another agency that does adoptions in the community as well, so that we can bring together a larger network of women who have placed their child so that they can support each other. And then those updates. So birth moms can reach out to us at any time after they've placed. I've received calls from women who have placed 18 years ago and, wanting to know how their child's doing because they've kind of lost track over the years. So they can reach out to us at any time. And there's certain rules and laws and things that fall into place at different times. But yes, we can always offer support and just a listening ear if they need it.
For that family that is adopting, how do you counsel them? Because I'm sure for them, like, this is what they've dreamed of.
Yes.
But yet they have this birth mom on the other side who I'm sure they understand the pain that she's feeling. It's got to be really bittersweet.
It is, definitely. And for adoptive families who maybe have experienced infertility, it's definitely a challenge for them to kind of overcome their own grief with their infertility, and then kind of also see this grief that this woman, this birth mother, is going through in order to benefit them. So we counsel them. We have different resources, different education things that we put them through to help them understand from a birth parent perspective what choices they are making to get to this point, and then helping them kind of just resolve that with their own grief and things that they've been through.
Ultimately, obviously, it's about the child.
Yes.
What's it like when you have those amazing success stories where it just all falls together for everybody involved for that child?
It's overwhelmingly happy. I have literally, after a placement, sat in my car and cried because it was such a long time coming for that adoptive family. And they had developed such an amazing relationship with both birth parents that it was one of the most beautiful things I had ever seen, and literally was just overcome with emotion after that. I have to hold myself together professionally in that moment. But when I got to my car that day, I did. I just sat there and kind of wept for a few minutes. And it's amazing to see. And I think the emotions that go into it, it's both joy and sadness, because we know it's really joyful for this adoptive family. They're growing their family. They've got kind of their hopes and dreams all here, right here in this child, but yet we're also have this birth mother who has, made this incredibly brave decision, and that she's grieving as well.
That is Amy Newell, Adoption Program Manager with Lutheran Family and Children's Services. You can reach out to the organization at 866-326-LFCS. Their website is lfcsmo.org. Let's get a check of the roads now with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, it's still pretty busy, Megan. This traffic report's a service of Age Smart Community Resources. North 270 still bogged down, Tesson Ferry to Gravois, but it's jammed from there all the way up through Big Bend, and then it's just slow all the way to Ladue after that. If you're on South 270, 364 down to 64 heavy. Eastbound Highway 70 still off the pace from Lake St. Louis into 79, a little busy east of 370 to Zumbel 94 all the way into the airport. Slow going through that Lucas Hunt Jennings Station area. That crash, as I mentioned earlier, cleared off of the exit. 364 east of K to Mid Rivers is slow. A little busy coming in through Kisker and the Heritage Crossing across the 94 Mugi into 141 across the bridge. You've got slow traffic there. Eastbound 64 still have delays coming off 61 Wentzville Parkway to Prospect. Slow both sides of Winghaven. It's slow from just right around Annie Guns up to about Timberlake. 270 through the Interbelt. The Interbelt's still bogged down at Page. Westbound 64 Kings Highway to Hanley slow. 44 still some heavy stuff east of Elman stretches into Kings Highway just off the pace through there. 55 Bayless up through Virginia slow, and 64 still backed up at 25th Street or approaching it. 5570 at Exchange across the Poplar Mutual Veterans Bridges on the Illinois side. Next update at 8:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
1 in 4 employees is also a caregiver. The CARES program connects them with expert support, helping reduce stress, boost retention, and save your business money. Learn more at hsmart.org or call 618-222-2561, serving 7 counties in Southwest Illinois.
It's going to be breezy and chilly today. Rain and drizzle throughout the midday, tapering to a little drizzle this afternoon. Expect a high of 56. Right now, we do still have rain. 55 degrees downtown at the Arch.
It's Tom Ackerman. It's October, and that means Overhead Door Company of St. Louis has the $5,000 sweepstakes underway again. If you need a new garage door, this could be your lucky day. Entries are open now and only for this month for the $5,000 sweepstakes at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. A winner will be chosen at random to receive $5,000 towards new garage doors, openers, or front entry doors of their choice. Deadline to enter is the end of October to win the $5,000 sweepstakes with Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Don't wait until Halloween. You'll be busy that day, and you'll forget. Enter now at overheaddoorsstlouis.com. You can't win if you don't enter. The $5,000 sweepstakes at overheaddoorsstlouis.com. Remember, Overhead Door Company of St. Louis is the one with the red ribbon, the one that began in 1926, the genuine, the original.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com, because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, ETHOS, ethos.com/life.
When you haven't found love, it can feel like everyone else has. It's in every movie, every song, and all the PDA. Looking for love sucks. Thankfully, California Psychics can give you the guidance you need to find the one. We can guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. And new customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com and experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Sponsored by Progressive. We make the claims process easy so you can get back on the road in no time. It's why over 43 million drivers trust Progressive. See for yourself at Progressive.com.
I'm Megan Lynch, and you're listening to Total Information AM on KMOX. Hurricane Melissa is grinding across eastern Cuba as a Category 3 storm after pummeling Jamaica as one of the strongest Atlantic hurricanes on record. At one point, Melissa had top sustained winds of 185 miles per hour. With me now, CBS News climate correspondent David Schechter. David, thanks for your time this morning.
Thank you so much. Happy to be here.
What trends are we seeing with these hurricanes, and what are experts saying about whether there's a possible link to climate change?
Well, the basic sort of atmospheric science of hurricanes and climate change is really well documented. Hurricanes are fed by warm air and warm water. And over the last many years, all the additional heat that we are producing in the planet through our release of emissions and greenhouse gases, 90% of it goes into the ocean. That's been our safety blanket there that's keeping the rest of the planet from getting much hotter than it has. But that water is now getting warmer. And so there's more fuel there for these hurricanes to pick up speed and also become more destructive and carry much more moisture in them. So the link there is quite clear.
So when it comes to Melissa specifically, how is this climate change believed to have impacted this current storm?
Yeah, so Melissa picked up a couple days ago, picked up about 70 miles per hour in the course of 24 hours, extreme rapid intensification. And so what happened is it's a slow drift of Melissa over the warm water that we've been talking about, which is much warmer than it has been on average, significantly warmer. Some scientists at a group called Climate Central did a quick analysis that found that the conditions at play there in the ocean in the Caribbean made it 700 times more likely that intensification would have happened, and that is related to climate change. So that's a very clear indication of the impact between climate change and Melissa.
And what I think is so interesting is that typically when a storm like this would make landfall, it would lose a lot of steam. It did lose some. I mean, it went from a Category 5 to a Category 3, but it still could do significant damage as it moves on, correct?
Absolutely. That gets into the meteorology part of it. But one of the things that you're seeing with these storms, and I guess we'll discover this soon too, that climate change is they're moving slower. And so that would seem like maybe that's good, but actually it's really bad because it stays over these areas for longer and creates more rain. And so you get this flooding. The inland flooding from the rain is causing as much or more of a problem as the storm surge pushing water from the ocean onto land. And so, yeah, I think the hurricanes are starting to change in their nature for sure.
David, thanks so much for the insight.
Thank you.
That is CBS News climate correspondent David Schechter joining us this morning here on KMOX. It's now 8:28. This time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Zero Res. So they've been with me for 15 plus years. We've had a lot of seasons together. So it is officially fall now. It's spooky season. You've got Halloween coming up. You have people coming over. It is time to nest for the winter and the holidays. In other words, it's a great time to get your carpets cleaned, to get your furniture cleaned, to get your air ducts clean, and your dryer vent clean. You can do all of those very reasonably. There's always a DGS special. This month, it is 3 months of carpet clean starting at $129. That's a $40 savings, 15% off your air duct and dryer vent cleaning. The guys do a great job. They've been out to my house half a dozen times, maybe more than that. They work their butts off. They're professional. They are courteous. Call 314-474-2020. You can also book online at ZeroResSTL.com, 314-474-2020, ZeroResSTL.com.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. Ever wonder why Big Wireless wants you on unlimited plan? They probably want you to cover the cost of those 20-somethings using all that data every month. But most people 50 and up like me only use 12 gigs or less. Don't get bamboozled by Big Wireless. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Our plans start at just $20, and we use the same towers as the big guys. Join the millions who choose something better, because if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM. Visit consumercellular.com/facts or store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Nobody had to tell your grandparents not to drive while using their typewriters. Why should it be any different for us kids and our cell phones? Distracted driving was the cause of more than 3,000 deaths in 2022. Come on, we're smarter than this. Let's put down the phones and focus on the roads. Drive safe, everybody.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Hi, Stacy with Fairwinds River's Edge Senior Living in St. Charles. Are you a senior seeking a fun retirement? Do you want less work and more play? Do you want to enjoy great food that you don't have to cook? Then I know. Stop what you're doing right now and call Fairwinds. Set up a time to visit and have a meal. Meet some of our awesome residents. Check us out online at fairwindsriversedge.com. We hope to talk with you soon.
It's 8:30. Let's see how things are moving on the roads, especially with those wet roads. Roger Brand is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, still got some issues out there, Megan. This traffic reports the service of the Woodlands of Arnold Senior Living, northbound Highway 55. You've got bumper-to-bumper traffic. Bayless up through Loughborough. There's a southbound crash there in the left lane just before, right at about Holly Hills. So northbounders are looking at it. Southbound, a shorter jam, obviously. North 270, approaching Gravois, stop and go up through 44. Then it's slow all the way to Ladue. Southbound 270, 364, down to 64 slow. We have an incident at Prospect on eastbound 64. It's jamming 70 in the right lanes at Z, and southbound 61 at Wentzville Parkway. Eastbound 70 still bogged down. Bryan Road in through Delbot 79, 94 into 270. A crash. Westbound 70 west to 270. Right lane blocked, backing up the 270 ramps. If you're on eastbound 64, It's still on the brakes both sides of Winghaven, coming out of the valley, both sides through the Chesterfield Parkways. Slow from 270 all the way through the Interbelt. Bogged down south 170 south of Page, westbound 64, Science Center to Hanley, and Clayton Worcester to 270 slow westbound. Eastbound 44, Jameson or River to Pear, really, I guess, into Kings Highway, still kind of slow. And on the Illinois side, 5570, slow at Exchange, 64 backed up at 25th Street to the Poplar, and the Musial Veterans Bridge is jammed back to the Illinois side. Next update at 8:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
The Woodlands of Arnold campus offers skilled rehab, a beautiful assisted living community, and a secure memory care to keep your loved ones safe. Check us out at rspseniorliving.com. That's rspseniorliving.com.
From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, we're going to have some rain and drizzle throughout the day. Hopefully it'll taper off to just a little bit of drizzle by the afternoon. Expect a high only around 56 degrees, and that's close to where we are right now. We've got rain 55 degrees downtown at the Arch. The Federal Reserve will almost certainly cut its key interest rate this week. Let's talk with KMOX business analyst Jerome Katz, professor in the Chaffetz School of Business at St. Louis University. Jerry, what's behind the Fed's likely decision this week?
Well, we've been looking at improvements in some parts of the economy. The inflation rate has really stayed at a low level, 3%, which is still higher than the Fed would like, but is a whole lot better than it had been. The hiring has been going okay. Investment has been going okay. Obviously, the stock market's looking solid. So it does look like the Fed will cut the interest rate, probably 0.25% like they did last time.
Are we expecting more later in the year?
Probably. The whole idea was, as the economy got in a stronger position, that the Fed would be able to cut rates. The fly in the ointment is the potential impact of tariffs and other trade deals on inflation. Right now, we're looking at jumps where, for example, like right now, importing beef from overseas in some cases involves 50 and 100% tariffs, making beef imports super expensive. If that kind of thing happens, it will literally be a drag on the economy and probably forcing up prices. And so the Fed would stop lowering the interest rate then.
I know a lot of people are excited to see these cuts, but really and truly, how soon would Americans realistically feel the impact of another rate cut?
If you're going to buy a home or a car, you'll feel it sooner. If you are like half of American households nursing your credit card debt, you're not going to see much change quickly. Banks and other finance organizations who issue the credit cards don't have to drop the rates immediately when the Fed drops their rates. So, for example, the Fed dropped the rate 0.25% a month ago. Nothing has happened. And remember, if you're paying 20 to 24% per month on your credit card balance, 0.25% drop is not going to make a difference, even if it flowed immediately into that.
All right. That is KMOX business analyst Jerome Katz, professor in the Chaffetz School of Business at SLU. Thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Have a great week.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. So as you know, I'm a lawyer, haven't practiced in a long time, but I did plaintiff's work and defense work, so I have a pretty good understanding of it. I have a pretty good idea of who's who in the firmament of plaintiffs' attorneys. And for my money, Mark Cantor is the guy. He's a great attorney. He is a great practitioner. He's put together a great team. He was born and raised here. He lives here. He works here. He wins here. Call 314-628-ALL-9s or CantorInjuryLaw.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based on advertisement.
House stealing. It's a nightmare that's real. It's the FBI's term for thieves stealing your home's title and draining your equity. Just one fake document filed with a recorder, and scammers can own your home on paper, drain your equity, and do it all without you even knowing. Imagine waking up to a foreclosure or eviction notice. Listen to former title thief Matt Cox.
What people don't realize is the ease in which this crime can happen. I can take the deed to your house and I can transfer that deed into my name. It's a great crime, and it's happening all the time.
So how can you stop the nightmare and protect yourself? Find out if you're already a victim now at HomeTitleLock.com. Use promo code RADIO and get a 30-day free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection, a title scan, and access to a title specialist, a $250 value. Don't wait. Go to holdtitlelock.com now, promo code RADIO.
Your Money Report now, sponsored by Eamon Gattner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys. Here's Bloomberg's Dan Schwartzman.
Futures continue to point to positive open on Wall Street, with all three indices showing gains ranging from 0.2% to close to 0.5%. In a sign of increasing weakness among U.S. consumers, the maker of Kraft Mac and Cheese and Heinz Ketchup, Kraft Heinz, lowered its sales outlook. The company is looking to split into two separate entities, with one housing the faster-growing brands such as condiments and boxed meals, with the other will group together slower-growing items such as Oscar Mayer deli meats and Lunchables. Kraft Heinz shares are down around 1.5% in pre-market trading. Sneaker and apparel company Adidas saw double-digit percentage growth in the third quarter for both its running and soccer shoes. The German company also benefited from 10% growth in its lifestyle products, which includes the classic Samba sneakers. Adidas did impress investors with its profitability in the quarter, but did disappoint when it came to its revenue growth trajectory. The company is dealing with President Trump's worldwide tariffs, as well as the effects of a weaker dollar versus the euro. I'm Dan Schwartzman, Bloomberg Radio.
Tom Ackerman for Busey Bank and Building Community, proudly recognizing the Community Action Agency of St. Louis County. Known as CASTLE, the agency is one of a network of community action agencies coming together to transition people out of poverty towards self-sufficiency. CASTLE serves 44,000 people in St. Louis County every year. Learn more about the Community Action Agency of St. Louis County at caastlc.org. That's caastlc.org.
This is Blake Trevunza, Commercial Relationship Manager at Busey. The Community Action Agency of St. Louis County, also known as CASTLE, helps people move from crisis to stability. With housing, food, health, legal aid, education, and more, CASTLE empowers families to break the cycle of poverty. Take action yourself and find out more about CASTLE, the Community Action Agency of St. Louis County. That's what building community is all about. Join Busey. Get involved as we continue building the communities we call home.
Hey guys, Kevin Wheeler here for 213 Complex, which is available at Supplement Superstores. A 213 Complex is simply the best all-natural weight loss supplement that you will find on the marketplace anywhere. First thing that it does, and this is the most important, is that it gets your metabolism working at optimal levels. Like 80% of the population has a metabolism that isn't working at that level, and 213 Complex gets you there. Now, it's not like something you're going to feel in the moment, but you're going to feel the results because you pull the belt and it's a little tighter. I found that out a couple of weeks ago, and it's easier to pull to those tighter belt notches because you're losing the weight. And of course, on top of the metabolism boost, you're going to get help with those cravings every day. You're going to get all day focused energy, no crash at the end of the day that comes with those energy drinks. And you're going to get lower cortisol levels, which can help with stress and sleep. And look, losing weight's not easy. If it was, everybody would be thin, but 213 Complex is the help that you can need to get a jump on the holidays or on the new year, whatever you like. Just go to Supplement Superstores, tell them Kevin Wheeler sent you in. They'll knock 30% off 213 Complex, and you can find your location at supplementsuperstores.com.
This is 104.1 FM KMOX. Here's what's happening. Police in St. Charles County in a race against time to get stolen guns off the street after a break-in at Crown Guns on Old Highway 94. President Trump has acknowledged he can't run for a third term, citing constitutional limits despite his interest in staying in the White House. And tech giant NVIDIA is on track to become the first $5 trillion company. That's thanks to ravenous appetite for NVIDIA's chips. Let's see how things are moving on the roads with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we're still slow on North 270, Megan. This traffic reports the service of the Sandberg Phoenix Law Firm. Northbound 270, Gravois all the way to Ladue, still bogged down. Southbound 270, 364 down to 64 is still pretty busy. Eastbound 70 through Wentzville Parkway to Z, there's slow stuff from K into 79, 94 into Earth City. After that, you've still got some heavy traffic both ways around the city limits. The westbound 70 stuff, slowdowns begin at about Union. Eastbound 64 coming off 61, it's north of Wentzville Parkway through Prospect, still kind of busy at Winghaven, Annie Guns to about Timberlake. 270 all the way into Big Bend. South 170, Page down to 64 is still slow. Westbound 64, Science Center to Hanley, and Lindbergh out to 270 is busy. Northbound 55, stop and go pockets from Bayless up to Virginia. Westbound 70 jammed across the Mutual Veterans Bridge. Westbound 64 approaching 25th Street, still very heavy, headed for the Poplar. I'm Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
At Sandberg Phoenix, we're more than just a law firm. Our attorneys are committed to you, your business, and your community. We are ready to serve you in the areas of business litigation, intellectual property, health law, and products liability. SandbergPhoenix.com. The choice of lawyers, an important decision, and should not be based solely on advertising.
We're going to have rain and drizzle throughout the midday, tapering to a little drizzle this afternoon, a high 56. Mostly cloudy tonight, then clearing and chilly late with an overnight low of 41. Currently rain 55 downtown at the Arch. Thanks for tuning in to Total Information AM here on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. A coalition of officials from half of the states in the District of Columbia are suing the Trump administration over the suspension of food stamp benefits amid the ongoing government shutdown. KMOX legal analyst Brad Young, partner at Harris, Young, and Kaiser, joins us this morning for our weekly talk. Brad, good morning.
Good morning, Megan.
So roughly 1 in 8 Americans receive SNAP benefits. States are suing over those benefits, saying cutting them off is unlawful and that the Department of Agriculture should tap into its contingency funds. So what can the Department of Agriculture legally do here?
Well, that's what the court's going to decide, but there's one issue that has to be decided first before we even get to the merits, and that is whether the states have standing to sue. Standing is a fancy way of saying you got to have a dog in the hunt. You got to have a personal, verifiable interest in the outcome of the litigation, not just theoretical or philosophical. And so the first thing the court's going to have to do is, do these states have standing? And I think that that's pretty clear that they do. They have a multi-year benefit that is promised, so to speak, but it certainly has been budgeted to go to the states for SNAP. So I think that standing issue will be ruled in favor of the states. Now, on the merits, the question becomes, did the federal government improperly cut these SNAP funds? And we're seeing a pattern in most of these lawsuits against the Trump administration, and that is they're suing under what's called the Administrative Procedures Act. This is a sprawling law that specifies how the federal government is supposed to work. And one of those things is, when you cut funds, you have to publish the intent. You have to have a time of public hearing before you actually act. None of that's happening at the present time. So at the end of the day, I think that the court will rule that yes, the Department of Agriculture violated the Administrative Procedures Act. And secondly, they have to use their contingency funds or explain to the court why those contingency funds cannot be used, at least until they run dry.
How quickly could we expect a ruling on that?
Well, we're going to see a very quick ruling on this, Megan, because people are hurting and the courts understand that. So I believe that we'll see a ruling on this case within a week, 10 days at the most. Of course, another appeal could be filed, but there would be an expedited setting because this is a real issue. People are going to be facing a food shortage, and the courts understand that they have to act quickly and not just sit around and ponder the intellectual issues that may be present here.
Let's look at another issue. U.S. Border Patrol Commander Gregory Bovino has been in Chicago overseeing immigration enforcement. There have been reports of escalating and inappropriate force being used in some of those operations. Now, a federal judge has ordered him to appear in court every day and detail any use of force. This seems a little unusual. What are your thoughts on it?
It does seem unusual, but let's look at the situation. Under multiple laws, whether that's the Posse Comitatus Act or even Title 10, when the federal government sends in troops without the permission of the governor and in the absence of a declared insurrection, then those troops have a very, very limited role. They're allowed to protect federal property. They're allowed to protect federal employees, but they're not allowed under those legal mechanisms. They're not allowed to do what's called police functions. They can't arrest people. They can't investigate crimes. They can't search vehicles. So what the court is doing here is saying that they're going to exercise oversight. Now, I could see an appellate court saying that this might be a little bit excessive, but the concept itself of making sure that the federal troops are not crossing these legal boundary lines, that is specifically within the purview of the court to do.
I think what's interesting is that Bovino is saying, hey, listen, these use of force rules vary by situation. Is that true? What are these use of force rules? What is appropriate? Who will determine that?
Well, the use of force rules are always appropriate when it comes to different situations. For example, military has a use of force rules when it comes to engagement with foreign hostile troops. Police have a use of force rules when it comes to engaging criminals. The problem here is that we're blurring the lines. So the use of force that might be applicable for National Guard troops that are involved in combat are going to be specifically different than the use of force for police. Now, one of the things that I think the Trump administration will prevail on here is the court's attempt to say, for example, that you have to wear body cameras or that you cannot use chemical agents. I don't see the court having that authority to do that, but they can set in place these very specific guardrails on what these troops can and cannot do in terms of their activities.
Brad, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
That is KMOX legal analyst Brad Young. He joins us every Wednesday morning at this time. He's a partner at Harris, Young, and Kaiser.
Explore passion and romance as the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra performs two of the most exhilarating pieces in orchestral music. Violinist Nikolai Shep-Schneider showcases his virtuosity as he soars through Tchaikovsky's Violin Concerto, and music director Stefan Deneuve leads the SLSO in Rachmaninoff's breathtakingly beautiful Second Symphony. Experience this unforgettable performance November 1st and 2nd. Tickets available at slso.org.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Let me tell you about this new pretzel cheddar club. Hey, I'm Carlos.
And I'm Ebony. And a little thing we love about the Chick-fil-A Pretzel Cheddar Club
is the tangy Dijon with the pretzel bun. It takes it to a whole nother level.
It goes perfectly with the chicken and the cheddar cheese and the bacon.
Man, you know how much you love bacon. And I love the different varieties. Grilled, spicy, original. It gets you nice and excited for fall.
Order the Pretzel Cheddar Club with Cherry Berry and Sprite for a limited time on the Chick-fil-A app. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
There's nothing like when you get that part from eBay and it just fits. Yeah, the first time. So you can do less of this and get right back to more of this. At eBay, you'll find all the parts you need, guaranteed to fit, at prices you'll love. Sounds good, doesn't it? eBay, things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
I'm Dave Glover, and I see clearly now thanks to the doctors, Dr. Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andy Royer. You can too. Just go to youridoc.com.
Looking for your dream home in Wentzville? Welcome to Sutton Farms by Lombardo Homes, where community and comfort come together. Enjoy resort-style living with a private clubhouse, indoor courts, a splash pad, sand volleyball, walking trails, and even a dog park. Choose from our newest Parkside series or design your own custom home in our nature or traditional series, all within the top-rated Wentzville School District. Discover the perfect blend of small-town charm and modern convenience at Sutton Farms, located off Piney Road in Wentzville. Visit lombardohomes.com to learn more.
You're back with Total Information AM on KMOX. And this morning, KMOX's Maria Kina introduces us to a St. Louis Police K-9 officer and her four-legged partner.
Officer Heather Edwards is nearly a 24-year veteran of the department, and her husband is also a police officer. If you add Kane, because her partner goes home with her, and the other family dog, they're probably the most protected home on the block.
He's what they call dual purpose, which means that his specialty is narcotics, and then he serves other purposes as well, like he can do tracking of a suspect, he can do building searches, he can do article searches, missing people.
How am I going to ask this question diplomatically? You already said he was your best partner. If it came down to it, would you rather work with the dog or work with the person?
The dog. There's nothing wrong with male partners or female partners. It's just different. To actually know and get him to come to work with me every day and to say, like, he knows when it's time to go to work. When he sees this, he'll start moving in his kennel like, hey, when it's time to go, he knows he's waiting at the gate. He's ready to go to work. So we come and we get in his police car. Like now, he's working, but he's relaxing as well because he's watching. He's watching what's going on around us the entire time. So, you know, to not kind of know what kind of mood your partner might be in today when we get to work.
They had a fight with the wife or the husband.
Or the husband or the kids did something, or today's just not a good day for them because he's the best thus far.
When you go on a call, like if it's a suspicious person or something, or maybe burglars in the building, do you feel extra safe with them?
Yes, I do, because I have trained with him. We've done scenarios with him to where I know that he's going to protect me with everything in him. And I'm going to do the same for him. I was at first like, you know, because I didn't have that type of experience with a dog per se. I was just like, so how do I know if I go in somewhere and somebody starts fighting with me, how do I know he's going to protect me? So they said, hey, let's set up that scenario. And that's what they did. And even doing the scenario, the bad guy, so to speak, spun me around to where when he was running my direction, I was on his side, like to where he got to me first. He still went around me and got to the bad guy. So with that one particular scenario, I knew then that I don't have to worry about him trying to protect me because he's going to do it.
And yet look at how pleasant he is around people. He knows when it's his time.
Yes, I give him his commands in his language, which is Czechoslovakia. Yes.
It's in Czech.
Yes. I'm not a fluent speaker, so don't think that I can just say whole paragraphs and talk to somebody in that particular language. I did take the time out to actually learn the commands that I needed to get him to obey what I needed him to do. So we have that different type of connection because I let him know what he needs to do. So when it's time to work and I need him to do something, then I'll give him his command to do what I need him to do, whether it's search for drugs, search for an article, do a track of a person, search a building for a burglar, any of those things. He has different commands for, in which I give them to him and he goes to work.
Do you go around to schools and with kids and kind of like officer friendly?
Yes. I am the officer friendly K9 officer. That's what I actually enjoy doing the most. I'm very social. I'm a very social person. He's thankfully a very social dog. We work great with kids. So I actually volunteer if it's something that needs to happen or an appearance is needed and they want to have K9 there. I'm the first one to say, I'll even come in on my off day to say, hey, I'll do it because I know this is what kids love to see. They don't see it too often, especially with me being a Black female. They don't see it too often with a dog that they can actually pet and talk to and ask questions about and actually, you know, see it in person.
And a lot of times I think, especially with the little kids, if they're in bad areas, they see only the bad side of it when the police officer comes in. And this is so much more important for them to see this side of it with you.
Yes, I love to do it with the kids. They'll always ask, hey, does that dog bite? And I always answer them honestly and say, any dog with teeth will bite you. It just depends on that type of situation in which the dog will do that. However, well, is that dog going to bite me? No, that dog is not going to do that because me and him have a relationship. We have our talks before we get to wherever we need to go. Don't lick the microphone, buddy. Wherever we need to go to say, hey, well, this is what he loves to do. Like he loves his pets. He loves to give kisses and all of that kind of stuff. So he's very social.
I'm going to take him away from you.
Well, that'll be, we'll have to fight for that one. May the best one win. That's all I'll say. Because I'll fight for him. Will I get another dog after him? It really just depends on how soon we are not partnered up any longer. So I do have the option to retire. With me having almost 24 years on this department, I do have that option. But hey, we partnered up until he's finished. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what partners do.
Yeah.
Maria Kina, KMOX News.
Multilingual children have better executive function. Why? We'll chat with a cognitive neuroscientist from UCLA. Plus, it's Wednesday. We've got our midday midlife, and we've got tips for caring for aging parents. It all starts at 9 a.m. on the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And that's what you get with a Medicare